Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me. Rev Donna, Reverend Donna Seraphina is in this live stream with me today, as you can see. If you know who Donna is, then obviously this is a great surprise. But for those who don't know her, I would like to say that she is one of the most, well, not only really good friends to me personally, but she is a wonderful help in the true crime community. I've been following her work now since 2020, and she is probably the only reason I believe in the spirit world being real and helping in her ability being able to help in the true crime space, because she is able to see such vivid detail in these cases. For example, if we were to go back to Dylan Round's case, if you guys followed that, she was able to effectively say, just, was it even a month in, Donna, exactly? Or was it like a weekend? I can't remember.
In Dylan Round's case, I totally described who the person was, what the fight was about.
And the fence.
And really, I kept saying, follow the fence, go along the fence. And he was found not very far from the fence line.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
Yeah, so, I can't even believe it. It's mind-blowing to me, honestly.
Yeah.
And I understand we kind of have a new generation here of true crime people that follow on YouTube. So they might not know what you do, Donna. And that's why I wanted to introduce you in the way that, like, you have credibility, so much credibility with me and so much credibility with a lot of people in the audience. But for some people, they don't know you yet because, let's say, they follow other parts of true crime, but maybe not this space that much yet. But are interested in Sebastian's case. So what I will tell you is Donna, before kids were found, this is in Idaho, the case was the Lori Vallow case. 4 months before these kids were found in their new stepdad's yard, she was able to say exactly like every single detail of what had happened to them. I would say, honestly, Donna, the only detail that I didn't hear from you first was about that green bucket. Everything else you nailed, which was mind-blowing to me. That was the only thing I didn't hear.
Yeah, we'd have to go back through the reasons, because I said they put some of her parts in a bucket or in a tub, in a plastic tub. But then they said it was a green bucket specifically. So yeah, I know sometimes I want to go back through like every single statement and see which can be confirmed, but I think I would need help to do that, because I think I made around 1,000 statements. I mean, it's just so extensive, and when I go into it, at some point my brain starts getting traumatized, and the PTSD or whatever just shuts me down. So sometimes I do want to go through that case specifically, because I really, really gave it my heart and soul.
You did. And I would love to do that with you sometime, because I'm telling you, that case is what pulled me into your work. I just couldn't believe the level of detail that you got right. And I know I'm not alone in that. A lot of people in the comments, they remember exactly what happened and how you saw these details so many months before anybody knew anything. And then when the kids were actually found by the FBI, all the details you ever said were confirmed. So it's like instant, truth, like instant verification that what you said was not BS. And you said it at a time when nobody would have believed you. So
yeah, they thought I was crazy. A lot of people came back to apologize afterwards. They just thought I was insane. I'm talking about this girl having her leg chopped up. And the thing about the readings that is really the most important too, after all is said and done, is that there's at least 10 or more readings that have timestamps from before the remains were found that are verified afterwards. And like you told me, you believed once your life was over, it was over, you go back to dirt or whatever.
Yeah.
I had like a couple thousand letters from people who said, basically, I was an atheist. They start out, I was an atheist. And I'm like, oh, I love these letters. I love these letters. I have reached more people from that case alone, proving the afterlife, than I ever would have just in 20 years giving messages at church. I mean, thousands of people have witnessed it. The readings have the lowest ones have around 100,000. Some have a couple 100,000, and they prove the afterlife. They literally, because of the date stamps on YouTube, people know the afterlife is real. And they also know, I think it would be good if all murderers knew, like if East Idaho News, the Mormon-owned newspaper that controlled this, if they had been willing to not only have the true story out that proved the afterlife, but it also shows murderers that the dead can speak.
Yeah.
People who have been murdered can still come back and relay who did it and what happened to them. And that can help on cases. And I think that would also help less murderers. Some murderers, people tell themselves they can get away with it, but some murderers might think twice if they realized it was true.
Absolutely. I know. I agree. And in this discussion today, what we're going to go over is her reading that she did. This would have been early June, right, Donna? Like June. Honestly, I think it was June 9th.
The one about Sebastian?
And Sebastian Rogers, yes, because the details that you saw in that one are very interesting, in my opinion.
Okay, so that was, I uploaded that June 9th. And so I either did it, I think that was the same night. I did that for Seth's sister.
Yes.
Seth Rogers, the father of Sebastian. So his sister asked me, let's do a reading. And so if anyone from the family wants to do a reading like Seth's mom, it's free. I'm not charging for that.
Right.
So yeah, so that was June 9th. I uploaded that.
Okay. Are you ready to get into the details of it?
Let's do it.
Okay, awesome. So how would you like to go? Do you want to go over your transcript, Donna, or do you want me to just?
Sure. Do you think I could just briefly review my notes from?
Yeah, please. That would be great. Yeah.
Okay. So about an hour and a half ago, I thought, okay, I'm going to get ready kind of. And then I thought, I had watched a few YouTube videos and saw there wasn't much new on the case. And I decided to listen to Chris Proudfoot's ex-wife, Nina's interview again.
Me too.
And I mean, suffice to say, I was just really angry. And I think some things stand out because not only am I a psychic medium, I have a bachelor's degree in criminal justice. I've worked in an institution and as a social worker at juvenile parole. And as well, I volunteered for 8 years at Families and Friends of Violent Crime Victims, helping families of murder victims. And so I do know also a lot about criminal justice, and criminal psychology in particular was important to me. And so there's some factors that I was just, picking up about Nina and what she was saying. And to look at, is this family capable of actually murdering Sebastian? And I'm not accusing them of that. I'm just saying, are they capable? Okay, they're violent, they're vindictive, they're manipulative, and there was something coming up they wanted to hide. So this is all from other people, not from me. And when you listen to, are they manipulative? They even though the marriage wasn't going to be working, Seth and Chris Proudfoot's mother, what's her name?
Hold on, it's going to come to me. What is her mom's name? Or his mom's name?
Kathy Bowers.
Robin.
She comes out with her brother. So everything they do shows their whole family works in conjunction on these big plots.
Wait, I said that wrong. Let me, I want to fix what I said. I thought you were asking who Seth's mother is. No, Chris Proudfoot's mother is Kathy. Is that what you're asking?
Kathy Bowers,
correct.
And her brother, Bryant Guy, the father of, what's the kid's name? What's Bryant Guy's son's name?
What's whose son?
Danny Guy. Danny. Well, that's interesting to note. Okay, so anyways, so Kathy Bowersox comes out to California with her brother, and they lure Nina back to Tennessee, where they promptly take her baby from her, attempt to steal her. Are they a violent family? Well, I don't know. She went over to the family and said, please don't take my baby. And she says that Terry Bowersox, this guy with a fucked up tooth, excuse me, sorry, said he believed, pulled out a baseball bat in front of her 3-year-old and 7-year-old and was going to smash their heads in if they didn't get off his property. So he is extremely violent. Is he violent? His coworker, Terry Bowersock's coworker, says he believes Terry Bowersock is part of this and totally of the personality that would do something like this.
Yep.
Does the family, is the whole family violent? When a judge, after months of putting Nina through hell, told the family they have to give back Nina's baby, when she went for the exchange, the sister of Chris Proudfoot told Nina to run over Nina with his truck during the baby exchange.
And that sister, let me say, that sister is Melissa, Chris Proudfoot's sister, who said that.
And by the way, something I didn't put up on the internet was when I saw Sebastian taken to a house and he was still alive at that time.
Okay.
There was a female there. I didn't know if it was the sister or the mother, but there was a female. And then she left. And then there was a couple men there. So, yeah, their whole family, not according to me making accusations, but by the testimony of Seth Rogers, right, of saying that Sebastian was afraid of Chris Proudfoot, of the factual verifiable information that CPS wanted to interview Sebastian related to the custody suit of the baby that this horrible, horrible person, Kathy Bowersock, what a fraud. How dare she walk into a church? How dare she use a church
to steal a baby business? Right. How could you steal a baby? And hey, the baby was still breastfeeding at this point. She rips the baby from its milk source. It's mommy. You don't get lower.
Pure evil. This entire family is pure evil. And they're pure evil. And how does murder look on the face? Did you see Chris Proudfoot in court the other day when they're trying to terrorize after Terry Bowersock jumps out of his car a bunch of times and harasses Bullhorn Betty for trying to put up signs and look for the kid? Then they file a restraining order against her. I mean, come on. And Chris Proudfoot, his face looks like crap.
Yeah.
Okay.
Something's eating him.
Eating the guilt out of himself. Yeah. I mean, he's being eaten alive. Was that fun, Chris? Was it worth it? Because the world knows what you did.
Something hinky's going on.
Oh yeah. Oh, and then she says Nina says when she ran into the police station, it seemed that all the police knew the family and they weren't helping her. And then they said, go in this room, and they flipped the lights off to traumatize her. And then when she got outside, the whole family, she said, multiple cars of their family were following her and her father, and they were going 80 to 90 miles an hour up the freeway trying to get away from these people. So the sister, Chris Proudfoot, I don't know who else, Bowersock or whoever these people are, the guys, whoever, were chasing them with the baby in the car. I mean, that shows they don't even care about the baby anyway.
Right.
They care about being vindictive. You know what? Nina said they threw the baby at her. They threw it at her. She caught the baby. And then they chased her at 80 or 90 miles an hour. And Chris Proudfoot's sister says, why don't you just put it in reverse and roll over her?
I know.
Literally evil. And they all work together on these these deep plots. And there we have, is Sebastian alive? Not even from a psychic perspective, right? Because I didn't go that far, just because I've seen Seth publicly say it traumatizes him when psychics say things. So I just went as far as the house he was brought to. But just from a criminal justice background, the fact that this entire family is violent as can be, that they hold a double life, and that they work together, and that they're extremely vindictive, and that they've already done really evil things to try to steal a baby from somebody, doesn't bode well for Sebastian.
No, it doesn't. I know. I know, Donna. And I've wondered, is it possible that maybe they knew, so that they, being the Bowersocks, maybe knew the contention in the household, that Chris was having a hard time with Sebastian there? Because let's not forget, Seth made it very clear that Chris had come to him and said, like, this is not working out with Katie. There clearly was that ultimatum, right? So is it possible that maybe the Bowerstocks knew the contention between the dynamics, right, with Chris and Katie, and then you got Sebastian, and Chris probably didn't like Sebastian too much, I would imagine. And so did they, carry it out without the knowledge, let's just say without the knowledge of Chris and Katie? I'm just putting that out there. I don't know. That's just what I've thought. It's one of the things I've thought of before.
Anything possible, but I don't believe that for a second. I believe they all work together. All of them.
And I tend to understand. Yeah.
Didn't Sebastian go missing on the exact anniversary of, it was either when the original divorce between Katie and Seth was filed?
I've heard that. Yeah.
I mean, there's only a 1 in 365 chance of odds of this boy going missing on the anniversary of
the day.
Seth and Katie's, whether it was the divorce or restraining, or I don't remember, but it was an important pivot in the relationship between Seth and Katie, and Sebastian just happens to disappear on that day. Like, why aren't the judges in Tennessee ordering them to produce Sebastian, just like the judges in Idaho ordered Lori to produce her kids?
Well, I think they've got it sewn up. That's why.
Right. Because they have money, and because they're friends with the cops, because she's probably sold a bunch of cops real estate. I mean, there's something going on in that town. It sounds like, if you listen to Nina, why did the judge even order Faith to be put back in that house when Sebastian was missing under suspicious circumstances? Yeah, it's really bad. It's really, they say, oh, there's no evidence he was ever forcibly removed or left on his own. We just don't have evidence. Well, have they tried? Have they, oh yeah, they did. They said they raided Danny Guy's house and took his computer. Apparently, Danny Guy is Kathy Bowersock's nephew, who I had never heard of before my reading. I didn't know their family. I didn't know Mr. Popcorn Tooth, and I didn't know the nephew. Okay, but from what I heard, see, I work on a lot of cases, so it's just like people are always contacting me for help. So I'm not able to sit there and dissect every single case. But I heard they went and had a warrant and took Danny Guy's computer, and that Chris and Katie were there the night before, and that someone punished Sebastian because he went on the computer or did whatever they didn't want him to do.
Right.
Oh, and that's another thing. Nina said Chris Proudfoot, when her daughter was only like 6 or 7, Chris Proudfoot decided he wanted to cut her nails, and she pulled away, and he just backhanded her hard enough that broke her lip. So would this man known to beat Sebastian with a belt and make him sleep out in the garage and all these things, you think he's going to keep him alive somewhere? They hated him.
That's how it would appear. Yeah, I agree, Donna.
I hope he's alive somewhere. It would be really nice if Katie had a friend somewhere that's willing to take on a 15-year-old autistic boy who would be surely having outbursts. The odds of that on the criminal justice level are very slim, but it happens. I mean, it does happen. So, you can pray until the end. It's just infuriating, and this family is pure evil, in my opinion. Pure evil.
Pure evil and cunning.
Coming from that mother, Kathy Bowersock, what a manipulative, evil woman. I just can't believe she must donate to the church, because if I was leading the church where she walks in to get all her real estate business, which is really why I'm sure she's there, I would throw her out on her ass right in front of everyone. I would say, you are the brightest Satan, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah. Once you know what she's done to Nina, it's just like, how could you ever look at this woman with any sort of admiration or care? It's what they did to Nina is beyond sick. It's sadistic.
It's infuriating. It's a newborn baby, and they throw the newborn baby at her, and then they chase her down the freeway at 80, 90 miles an hour. They didn't care about that baby.
Right.
And then she said, and for vindictive, she said from then on, Chris Proudfoot was constantly trying to interfere on every little aspect of her trying to take care of her baby. As far as like calling CPS, and then, she shouldn't be wearing leggings. She shouldn't be doing this. She shouldn't be doing that, and constantly harassing her, never stopped harassing her. So he's evil. His mother's evil. His stepfather's pure evil. You know, sounds like the guy, Brian Guy, would go all the way to California with his sister to do that. So he's in tight with this. They've got this whole family. Oh, and Chris Proudfoot's sister telling. Do you know if Chris Proudfoot did put it in Nina said Chris Proudfoot did put it in reverse, but he just didn't hit the gas. And she told her kids, jump back or something like that. Oh,
that's right. I forgot.
Yeah, and you know, if he had done that, it could have killed the baby.
Oh, so, for sure.
Chris Proudfoot's sister is just as evil as her mother. She's just as vindictive as her mother. All of them are capable. So the question is, are they capable? This is outside of any psychic readings. I just want to get that through. Are they capable? And the answer is yes.
Right.
They're capable of killing him. They are fully capable. There's zero doubt.
That's how I feel too, Donna.
And Katie Proudfoot, she grew up being molested by her own mother. She has a flat affect. She's messed up. She got into this relationship real fast, and she was willing to do anything to hang on to it, just like a lot of other mothers we've seen. What about Maddie Soto's mother? That witch belongs in prison too.
I agree.
How they're letting her off for a plea agreement is beyond me.
Well, and from what I understand, they could end up charging her even after this whole thing goes down, is what I understand right now. So it's kind of a limited deal, a limited immunity she has, I guess.
Oh, that's good. And usually on these immunity deals, if they find anything else that you did not disclose, like if they get any evidence that she actually encouraged her daughter to get into bed with him, which obviously, I mean, he's right in the other room. Yes, that did not go on for 5 years without her knowing. Okay. Yeah. So if they find other stuff, they can bring back all the charges. Almost all the immunity deals say things like that.
I know.
I just don't see. I don't. She's just as bad as him. I mean, she even had more responsibility. She was the mother.
Yeah, she was.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I get it, Donna. I completely get it. And I was thinking about it the other day too, because really they kind of disappeared, or they were last seen on the same day, both Maddie and Sebastian. They both have questionable mothers that could have known about abuse and turned a blind eye. That's what this
They're
really
so desperate. They thought they needed a man.
Right. I need the man.
I need someone to fart in my house. I need someone so I have to clean the dishes. I need someone. What do you need? Like, really, women, you know, anyone allowing someone to molest their children, I think they should have the death. I think she should have the death penalty right along with him.
And by the way, let me be clear. I don't at this time believe that Chris could have been doing that like molestation to Sebastian. Again, I don't know that.
No, I'm not suggesting that either. I'm talking about Madeline Soto.
Yeah, for sure.
I kind of like divert it because it's these parents like Katie Proudfoot that did not protect her child against being abused.
I know.
So are we supposed to now project motherly attributes on her and say, oh, no mother would allow this whole evil family to, you know, they could have said, you know, say goodbye, you won't see him again, but whatever happened, she didn't protect him when Chris was beating him multiple times.
Yeah.
So would she not protect him in the end? Why would she start protecting him all of a sudden when she was so desperate? She was willing to stay with somebody that was harming her son.
Yeah, right. And him having to wear diapers, I still think there's a lot to that. Yes, he's autistic, but having to wear diapers when at Seth's house, he was perfectly functioning. He didn't.
Yeah, because he was scared and traumatized.
Yes.
And when people are scared and traumatized, when traumatic things happen, sometimes they urinate on themselves, even people who aren't autistic. If this man is walking around punching this kid and hitting him with a belt, well, that explains that part of it, you know?
Yeah. And that makes me wonder what kind of a stepdad was old Terry Bowersocks to influence Chris to be so violent, potentially, right?
That's a good question. Do you know how long they were together?
I'm pretty sure they've been together a really long time, like at least 20 to 30 years. So I'd imagine Chris's mom and stepdad. Yeah.
So Terry Bowersocks helped raise Chris?
Could have potentially, yeah. during the formative years. Yeah. Stepdaddy, old stepdaddy.
So they all go to church, or not all of them, but what I read, Kathy Bowersox on her Facebook lists a church that she attends. And I looked it up. It's like one of these the big super mega churches.
Oh yeah.
You know, she's there for one reason, which is to get real estate clients.
To get leads. Yeah.
She needs to be kicked out on her butt. She is evil and impersified or personified. She's evil, in my opinion. That's my opinion. Remember, it's conjecture. But from listening to Nina and listening to Seth, and this is going off of other people's documented statements, court documents showing what occurred, a judge finally giving Nina her baby back and the judge outright confronting Kathy Bowersox and saying, you set all this up to steal this baby.
Yeah.
Okay. Evil.
Evil. Yeah. 1,000,000%, Donna. It's really horrible. And to think about the trauma, right? The trauma that Nina must have gone through trying to fight that battle pretty much on her own. Well, with her parents' help, but alone quite a bit too.
Yeah, she's way there in Tennessee. Yeah. And that, you know what? There's always lessons in these true crimes. And I'll tell you, the lesson of what occurred with Nina is a good lesson for anybody, a female who has a boyfriend and he's moved here from another state and he says, let's go back. My parents are there, my family there, you know, well, they'll help with the kids. It's cheaper to live there. Don't. Because that baby then becomes a resident of that state and that family can take that kid away from you. And in Nina's case, it looked like that was the plan.
I 100% believe that was part of the grand scheme of things. To isolate her, she knows nobody there except the family, this cultish, horrible family, and then take the baby. I mean, what better way to do it, right?
Yeah. Oh no, so they've proven that they all work together to carry out complicated plots like they did to take the baby. So would they all work together to carry out a complicated plot regarding Sebastian? It's possible. Yes, it's possible because they clearly have proven that. Are they violent? Yes, they're all violent. Chris's sister's violent. Chris's mother's violent. Terry Bowersox is violent. And they all work together. I mean, are they capable? Is it possible? It's absolutely possible that the worst has happened here.
Mm-hmm. And, you know, I remember speaking to Seth pretty early on and him actually saying that his suspicion was of the Bowersox family because they have power and affluence. Mm-hmm. So he automatically was concerned about that because he knew how close-knit not only Katie is with the family, but how Chris could pretty much do no wrong in the family anyway. So would they cover for him or would they help him? Yeah, I think they would. That's my
opinion. Would. So all the possibilities of, is this even possible that they actually did away with him? Yes, it is possible. And do they have all the risk factors? Yes, they have all the risk factors.
100%. Wow. So do you want to start talking about some of the key details that you saw that you felt were really important?
Sure. In the reading. Yeah.
And this would have been, was this number 2, number 3 that you did, Donna, readings? Or do you know?
See, I did a really short one. So sometimes there's like multiple cases going on at a time that people are like, I'll do a reading. And a lot of times it's for the family. So if you're out there and you have a loved one who's been murdered and you need answers, you can email me at Rev Donna Seraphina @gmail.com. Or you can check out my channel, Psychic Rev Donna Seraphina, if you forget the email, and I'll help you for free. And so what happens is sometimes there'll be like 5 or 10 going, but there's commonly at least 5 different cases and people will be sending me text and pictures and this and that. So sometimes when I meditate and I'll ask, you know, also, is there any answers on these? I'll have like 5 minutes, say it would be like 5 minutes of Summer Wells or 5 minutes of Sebastian. And it's not like a full only Sebastian reading. So like when I saw this very dark green pickup truck in the driveway that night, and it had a little tool rack thing, one of those little frames that they hang ladders from.
Yeah.
I think that belonged to the house where Sebastian was taken.
Oh.
I mean, I think the flashlights, to me, I think the flashlights were them walking Sebastian out to the car. Probably Katie, but I can't say who.
I've always thought that
I think that's what that was. And we're all supposed to pretend we're stupid because the police are telling us we're stupid, right? Oh, you're all stupid. Why do you even care? There's no evidence anything's wrong. And it's like, yeah, there's a 15-year-old autistic boy missing. Right. Under very suspicious circumstances at a time when CPS wanted to interview him about the abuse going on in the home to see if Chris Proudfoot would get, let's not forget that, because they had motive as well there.
That's a good point.
So okay, so I saw the house, and in that reading I described the house. Really, to make sense of it would take somebody who knew that circle. It would take either the cops if they were working on it, and I maybe there are some that are working on it, but multiple people have indicated that Kathy Bowersox is friends with the cops.
Right, the family is, yeah.
Yeah, so but yet the cops don't turn it over to TBI.
It's so frustrating. Gosh. And for the longest time, they didn't even have more than a $3,500 reward, or not reward.
No, they don't seem to want him back at all. They don't care in the slightest. They don't seem to care. They don't appear to care in the slightest bit. You know, if my child was missing at age 15, I would be in front of the cameras every chance I got. I would be at every search, regardless. I mean, you wouldn't be able to keep me away if my child was missing. And Katie and Chris are just like, you YouTubers, which are the reason this case is even picked up.
Oh, absolutely.
It's already been forgotten. So, X YouTuber hates this YouTuber, hates that YouTuber. But in the end, that chaos and that circus has kept Sebastian's name, has put Sebastian's name on Court TV and Nancy Grace. They wouldn't have picked up even this story. It's too small. They picked it up because of the following, really attributable to T-Rev, even though he got in a fight with Seth, and so they don't like each other now. But the reality is he sat there for 3 weeks. Nobody else was covering the story. Yeah. And just every night was hammering on this missing kid that there's something wrong here. There's something wrong here. So, he does deserve some credit for that. And even though people get tired of the drama, and like on Summer Wells, that was the ultimate Jerry Springer show drama fest. But the reality was, in the end, it all keeps those kids' names.
It does.
In the public eye. And then the bigger ones like Court TV will pick it up because of that.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's convoluted as can be, but yes, these drama, crazy making people just spread the story so that there is benefit to the drama.
Yeah. And in the end, when you had Don Wells calling everyone drunk all the time, I'm sure there was plenty there. Can you imagine the police going, oh my God, we have to listen to another 5 hours of Don Wells to try to get some evidence?
Oh, painful. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but it would really take the police, right? Knowing every home cabin related to all the Bowersox friends, because let's get real. In my reading, I'm talking about a guy with a tooth here and a tooth, he's got something with his tooth, and the next day I'm receiving, photograph after photograph close up of Terry Bowersox's face. So I'm not saying it's him, and I'm not making any accusations. Yeah. And a psychic reading is the same legal equivalent of conjecture. But if the police actually were trying to solve this, they would be looking into every piece of property that fit this description that's related to Terry Bowersox.
For sure. And question for you, Donna, do you think, had you ever seen a photo of Terry before? Did this click when you saw in your reading the guy with the tooth?
No, I had never seen him.
You just heard about him maybe, but not seen him physically.
Right. Okay. Because I don't really watch, I'm very interested in crime, but I don't watch a bunch of other people's stuff because I'm busy with my own life. And I'm busy doing readings, regular readings, just, people that miss their loved ones. That's what I do, is readings. Mm-hmm. And so no, I had never, ever seen him. I had no idea who, I'm sitting there going, this guy, there's something with his tooth is popped out. I don't know if he has a cap on it. I don't know what's going on. It's like this, like that. And, I didn't know. And the next day I probably received 100 screenshots of the guy's face. And I'm just like, okay, well, there you go.
Validation, isn't it?
Yeah, and then there's two people named, the other name I said I was keep getting, I forgot, but there's two people in that family with that name, and one of them does custom woodworking, which I kept talking about.
Okay.
So let's see. So I'm looking at the transcript here. That's
yeah,
why
please. Yeah, talk about it. That's great.
And you know what? Say what you want about Bullhorn Betty, but Terry Bowersox picked the wrong woman to mess with. So that's what I think is kind of like, it's not funny, but it's funny in a way, because it's like, Bullhorn Betty is not going to back down.
No, she's not.
Amendment to the United States Constitution. She's not going to back down. He met his match on that. You know, he can jump out and try to intimidate her all he wants, but she's just going to double down. So good luck with that, Bowersox.
Good luck. I know. That's funny.
Yeah, let's see. Oh, and the thing I said, there's more than one way to skin a cat. So I would never talk that way.
I caught that, Donna. Yeah.
I don't use that thing. I'm just trying to go through here. Yeah. So I was, after the reading too, and I'm sitting there going, oh, this person likes to make these specialty wooden boxes.
Yeah.
And then usually when I do a reading, then I'll like that is when I'll start hopping around and looking at stuff, because I want to confirm things for my reading. And almost always they will tell me things that are already out there in addition to new things. So then I'll be confident enough, okay, this reading was spot on, and I'll upload it. All over in the background of Katie Proudfoot's house is these specialty wooden boxes in every room. Every room.
Really? So, how did you see them, Donna? Are you talking about pictures you've seen, or you saw the psychically?
No. And it could have been the interview Chronicles of Olivia did with her.
Okay.
Or maybe a news station, but it was like somebody interviewed them in their house, and then every room it showed had, you know, they're about this big. I mean, they're big. They're on the floor.
Are we talking trunks?
Like, yeah, trunks.
Trunks. Okay.
Specialty wood, really nice, polished trunks, little trunks.
Okay.
They were in every room. So someone they know, and you know, I already have an idea who that is, but I don't want to be accusing people, because anything a psychic says is literally the level of conjecture and speculation.
Yeah, and I want to make that clear real fast, just as a disclaimer. These are our opinions. We're also stating fact, and she's giving her opinion on what she's seen psychically. Because a lot of people be like, well, they assume it's all like fact. No, we're having a conversation. Donna and I would have this conversation offline without you guys, exactly as we are right now, except there might be a little more cussing involved. Right, Donna?
I think I let the cussing thing out of the bag again. I gotta stop, but it makes me so angry. It makes me, what they did to Nina just infuriates me. Like, it makes me so angry. And Nina, you know, honestly is lucky to be alive. If they thought she was going to win, she might have just been here too.
I know. She could have ended up like so many others.
I did see a couple of things about Sebastian, some violence when he was brought at that house. But I didn't want to follow it all the way, because I had already heard Seth say that he was hearing psychics say Sebastian was dead, and that it traumatized him really bad, and he really wants to believe that he's alive until proven otherwise. And I respect that, because I also think, you know, I have to be careful of myself, because like on the Lori Vallow thing, I didn't expect anyone to listen to that. Right. The only reason I uploaded this really graphic reading was because to send to the police, so they would know what happened. It was like, so I just have to be cognizant of, I don't want to cause people harm and trauma.
And I want to say something real quick to the audience. There's been a lot of really evil people on YouTube that have been blasting Donna's ability, or me, both of us. People. And it has to stop. And let me tell you why. If you want to see if Donna's the real deal, go to her YouTube channel. Watch her videos. Watch her readings done 4 months before those kids were found. You cannot tell me that this woman didn't get every detail right on. Compare it to the court testimony. You guys have got to stop. Like I'm shooting straight to these people who keep talking shit. It has to stop today. I'm sick of it.
Not only that, but some of these YouTube creators who have insulted me, when I put up a reading, their new story the next day is, I have a new theory. And then they repeat things I said in my reading. And then in the same live stream, they'll go, I hate psychics. And it's like, all right,
crazy.
You know, all right. They do that a lot. Like on the Dylan Rounds one, they were doing it to the extreme. I counted 20 of them. The day after I uploaded one of the readings about Dylan Rounds, 20 of them, and 2 of them sat there and disavowed psychics in the same segment. But clearly they had listened to my reading. They said it was their new theory, and they repeated what was in my reading. So, and that doesn't even address the other psychics who just copy everything I put up. So, just suffice, I don't mind if people make theories out of my readings, or even if another psychic says, oh yeah, Donna saw this and I'm kind of seeing something similar, or I'm seeing something slightly different, because we're filtering it through our vision. But just give me credit if you use my work. That's all I'm asking.
I mean, that's the right thing to do, you know?
Yeah. Okay. So, because remember there was that one girl that had cancer. I don't know if she's alive. And I think that was somewhere else. And every day when I put something, she would put it up. But she gave me credit. Okay. Remember, because we were talking, you said this girl's doing, and I said, you know what? She's saying my name. She's giving me credit. And then she's saying she's seen the same thing, but she's giving me credit. And really, that's all I can ask for on YouTube. And I do appreciate that. And people have my permission to do that if they give me credit. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So I'm on 2 minutes of the transcript. I don't know what to say. It looks like I'm describing the place where he was brought. Yes. There's a couple people who messaged me on Facebook that have sent me some photos of, like, I would say a mile away or something like that, there's an old tractor as a decoration, but then I don't know if it's ever ready. There's a whole bunch. I don't know what you want me to say. I saw him brought to a place. I saw him put in the outbuilding. I saw him brought out. I saw him being attacked. I saw some things, and then I didn't actually see him buried, but I kept being shown this flower box, and then I kept having this ominous feeling about it, like wondering, like, okay, but I didn't see him killed, and I purposely stopped it before that, just out of respect for Seth.
Okay, and the attack maybe you did see, was it with a weapon? Anything you can?
I saw him hit in the back of the head with a shovel.
A shovel. Okay. Okay.
I also saw him. Someone go like that to him.
Okay.
And maybe a little more. I'm not sure. I just didn't put it, because actually my computer was working too, and I didn't want to put all that stuff on there to traumatize Seth or whatever.
Right.
And so I just let it be. I just let it be. I figured if they want more readings, I'll do more readings. I haven't heard anything. If Seth's mom wants a reading, I'll help. So if you don't know my work, mainstream media noticed my accuracy, but instead of saying, oh, wow, there's this psychic who's like super accurate, they decided to try to make up lies about me. BBC actually had their people fly all the way here, spend the day at my house, act super nice to me, and then put up a hit piece where they took different pieces of things and made total lies. So I just decided that if I'm going to do readings, I'm only going to do them with family or friends that will have my back, or that I have proof that person wanted me to do that, so I just am protecting myself that way.
Right.
Oh, I was seeing all these different clues about where this house was, like the chimney smoke, the sky.
That's what I wanted to ask you. The chimney smoke, how was that shown to you, and what do you think it means?
Well, it's definitely a clue. It's probably the name of something. So some people said maybe it's the Smoky Mountains. Some people said there's a place called Chimney Top, but because they showed it to me 3 times, because the first time I thought they were just showing me this house, which looked kind of like a ranch style house or a long house. And the house did not face straight to the freeway, which is so interesting because Chris and Katie Proudfoot's house doesn't face to the freeway. I mean, to the street. And I was saying honeysuckle, and then the next street over is honeysuckle. So to me, I'm just like, that's all weird, you know.
That's gotta mean something. That's gotta mean something. Seriously, because with the Chad Daybell stuff, you talk specifically about, what was it? Trapper Lane. You kept saying trapping, trapper. You just
trapper could walk by. This trapper kept walking through on the streets reading Dressed Like Daniel Boone, and I go, this guy's a trapper, not a hunter. This guy's a trapper. And all the hours spent on Google Maps never showed it because the city had renamed it a number. And it didn't come up on Google Maps. And then all the neighbors, I talked to almost every single of Chad Daybell's neighbors during this time. Like I would find them, call them, talk to them.
Yeah.
And then after it was over, like a bunch of them sent me pictures of Trapper Lane, which was the next street from Chad Daybell. The locals left the sign up and they still call it Trapper Lane. And it's like, why didn't any of them tell me? It's because people who don't know mediumship didn't realize the significance that everything I say could be the name of something. So if they show me a honeysuckle flower and the next street over from Chris and Katie's house is honeysuckle,
right?
It works. That's how it works. It's like everything is visions. Almost everything is visions.
That's my experience following what you do, Donna. So if you're seeing honeysuckle, I think it ties to something, whether it could be maybe where the person parked. They could have parked on honeysuckle and walked in by foot or something. I guarantee it means something.
He curved around honeysuckle. And actually, if you go down this road where you're not very far away from there and it starts, look, I said, it looks like you're in the boonies, but you're not. Mm-hmm. You do go through this road where there's all these trees. And then when it comes clearing, there's a big piece of property and someone put a very old tractor out there for a decoration, just like I described.
Okay.
But then there's also, there's a few clues. So if I was there in Tennessee, I would go to these locations that are possibilities that people send me. And I would see if I start getting chills and start like having visions and stuff like that. Because there's also like, do you remember the name I said at the end of, and then everyone says it's related to RVs, fixing RVs.
Was it the Steadfast?
Yeah, Steadfast. There's a Steadfast RV park, and it might have a relationship to honeysuckle there too. So there's a Steadfast RV park. I don't know if it's in the Smoky Mountains. Like I can't remember everything, but that has a tractor in the front for a decoration too.
Okay, and I was doing my own research this morning, Donna, and I think that Steadfast name completely clicks with this, and I don't want to put their name out here because God knows they'll get inundated with phone calls, emails, everything. But this person fixes things, installs cabinets, things like that, and their places, that's the name of it. It's like Steadfast, and they service that whole part of, is it East Tennessee, I think? Like,
yeah.
That whole, East Tennessee. So they service that entire area, and that's what they do. They'll winterize these RVs, and knowing that Bowersox has ties to RVs, going back to the former, 100%, knowing that he has ties to those kind of people, and then the former employee Matt, who talked to JS for Justice, and what he said about Bowersox, that he's got the potential to be totally evil. That he's heard him say horrible things about Sebastian, for example. I think there's something to that. The tie is through the RV. I think that's what Steadfast is, Donna.
Oh, I do too. And I don't know if it's that one guy you're talking about, because Steadfast is also, I don't know if it's RV Tools or a company that redoes RVs, but it looks like a lot of RVs would use it. So it might be, so it's something to do with updating and fixing RVs, and Chris or Mr. Bowersox does that for a living as well. As then there's a person who made a business named that, and then there's the RV park named that. So like if I was really working the case and able to go there, I would be making a big chart where, okay, here's potential, here's the clue, and here's potentials of that clue, what these could be, and then like see where you'll start getting a cluster of it all fitting together.
Yeah, exactly. I think the hardest thing is we're not there. We can't see this stuff in real life. So really, the audience right now, if you're in this general area and something clicks, go look into it. See if you can put 2 and 2 together and start figuring things out. Not to say we're the ones that are going to solve it, but honestly, Donna's readings have been so amazingly accurate in the past that maybe it will lead to something, some tip that you could then turn in that helps find them. You just never know. That's why,
especially if you're friends with the Bower Sox and the Proudfoots, but you don't approve of what may have happened, you may be of the most help of all.
Yeah.
You know, because somebody out there who might hear this might recognize something. Sure. And if it ever does get solved, for sure these things we'll be able to place them then, you know. Someday, I hope very soon, I hope to be able to get a van and drive around to these places like before people know who I am, and go in there and do my readings, and then go to all the places I can find and film them and figure it out. Because just to even be able to go somewhere where something happened, there's still energy there. There's always the energy of it still lingers. So
yeah.
Yeah, I'm only on 3 minutes in, and I'm just describing the house all over again. Oh, I say it looks like a middle-class house. I wasn't sure if it had a second story or not. I saw some sort of like carport thing. That's where I saw the female go in, and she was talking to the male, but then she left again, which is interesting because Kathy Bowersox was back in the neighborhood around 5 a.m., right? And then allegedly just happened to run into.
That's what people think. Yeah. Yeah.
Didn't they just officially say that, or people were
I'm
just
not
saying?
Sure if anything's come out like that. I know that I heard on that day when he vanished that Kathy Bowersox did come over. That's what I've heard. I can't confirm it though, that it's fact or something, you know.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's what I heard too.
Okay.
So the first 3 minutes I'm describing this house where Sebastian was brought to, and at the time I'm seeing him alive. I'm seeing him put out in this
okay.
I didn't know if it was a shed, a garage, a barn. I didn't know what that was. Then I'm talking about they're showing me maple wood, so that's another clue, maple wood. And I'm describing the house again, really describing the house a lot.
Does it look like a big, like almost mansion, beautiful home, or is it average?
It was like built from the 50s and the 70s, or, you know, no later than the 1990s. Not one of the big, nice homes. It would be like, I wasn't even sure if it was a cabin or just like someone's home. And it felt like you were going up a mountain, or it felt like you were going uphill, and then there's a curve, and the house is on the curve, and it's sideways to the road.
Okay.
Then I said I would think that I was in the middle of nowhere, except for up ahead. I know there's some things, whether it's the town or whatever. Okay. And always remember, from any psychic medium, they're seeing through the filter of their own life. So I am only from a big city, and I think that issue came up a couple of times on the Lori Vallow case too, because I can't remember why, but just being in a big city and then seeing something, I don't know, like I stopped one reading with JJ's aunt because I saw a cow standing on the lake, and I'm like, cows wouldn't stand on a lake. Wow. I'm just seeing things. Well, yeah, they would if it's called a cow reservoir. I don't even know.
Right.
I said there's a lake there. There's swans in the lake, and even the lady who owns, what's it called? Cow something, when you fill up your whole field with water.
Oh, irrigation?
Whatever, yeah. And one of the neighbors said every time they do that, we go kayaking. So she sent me pictures of her and her daughter going kayaking, and then the woman who owned the big ranch or whatever, she actually contacted me, and she was really mad, trying to bully me and get me to tell her who's that neighbor that's kayaking on her. I'm like, lady, I'm trying to solve a murder here, and if you want to tell me something confidential, you tell me. Right. Because I'm keeping everyone confidential, and you can tell that because I'm not going to tell you anything, no matter what you do to me, what you say. It was right. Kind of
lying. Yeah.
Just trying to bully me.
Man.
So I said, yeah, I'm on only 4 minutes.
Okay.
I'm like, talking about the wood on the house.
And what does the wood on the house?
A lot of times it's near the top of the mountain. Now I say that, but that could be a name. So, and then I said, oh, I see the mountain ridge. So then they showed me the ridge of the mountain. A lot of times if they do something like that, there'll be a ridge in the name of a street there or around there.
I wonder if this is Gallatin you're pegging here.
I don't know.
Let me take a look. Hold on a second.
I would also take anything related to that sister of Chris Proudfoot.
That's what I think.
I had a couple of friends out because clearly if she suggested to her brother that he should murder his
I know.
wife while she's holding a newborn baby. Wow.
Honestly, Donna, as you're talking about this, that's what I keep thinking about. I do.
Gallatin?
No, the sister of Chris.
I saw, I don't know if it was the sister, the mother or something, but there was a female there for a bit and then she left.
Okay. That's just my opinion. That doesn't mean I'm right.
I saw the men harm him.
Repeat that. What'd you say?
Then I saw the men harm him, but the woman left.
Multiple men. More than one? Two
Yeah.
men? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Jeez.
And you know what another thing was after that little girl in Texas, Audrey Cunningham?
Yeah.
She didn't look like my daughter, Nicole, who was murdered, but she had the exact same coloring. She had that white hair and this milky white skin.
Yes.
And it just, I couldn't even upload the reading. I had like a nervous breakdown for 3 days. I was crying. It was just brought back. And then I was praying to God to never let me see another child murdered again.
Oh, I can't.
And then now I'm like, okay, God, I think I'm ready again, you know. But I tell you that seeing the adults murdered, it doesn't bother me. And
as much.
Yeah, I mean, I get mad, like seeing Suzanne Morphew murdered or seeing, you know, Nikki McCain murdered or something. But when I see the children murdered, it just makes me so sad, you know, for the longest time, like, they're so innocent and it's just
it would kill me.
Kill an innocent child is like, it's just a whole nother level.
Honestly, I don't know how anybody can harm a child. I can't connect with that even being in the realm of possibility. It's so insane. Hang on a second. You know what, Donna, this could be really an important call. I got to mute out for a second. If you want to talk to them.
Okay, I'll keep going. I'll try to answer some questions.
Okay.
And I'll say, because I'm not, okay, so I'm at 4 minutes. So I'm showing there's some kind of outbuilding. And after I see, if you ever do listen to the reading, a lot of times what comes before and what comes after might be related. Sometimes it's a whole new thing. And so it kind of takes evaluating it, but always look at what came before and what came after to see if it's connected. And then in other cases, I might do a reading and just once or twice, like someone will go, why do you repeat yourself over and over? You know, why don't you just say it once? And it's like, I just repeat what the spirits are showing me. And if they do anything, if they show me more than once and they show it in a pattern, they're showing me that multiple things being related. So if they repeat themselves in a triangle pattern, like 3 things, I know those 3 things are related because they will do it like 2 or 3 times like that. And that's what the spirits want me to know. So that's the reason for that. But after I see the outbuilding, I see the honeysuckle, and it very well could be a name. I get shenanigans, honeysuckle. Let's see. Oh, about Madeline Soto. Yeah, you know what? My heart breaks for Madeline Soto. So a lot of times how I decide if I'll do a reading on something is if I can sense that the police might need some extra information. When the Madeline Soto thing broke out, I already knew. I mean, they found her within a day. I already, it's like a feeling in the pit of my stomach or in my heart. Like I already know it's in the bag, so to speak, as far as finding the body and resolving things. So it's not necessary for me to do that. And what I would say about, especially with it is literally like going into the dark side. And I liken it to jumping in a pool, a swimming pool of liquid razor blades. So I'm willing to do that. I'm willing to put on the protection of Jesus Christ and the archangels and God. And I ask for my daughter to help, and I ask for my spirit guides to help. And I'm willing to do that if I have a feeling that the police might need more information. But if I already knew, the second I saw that Maddie Soto thing, I knew they were going to find her body, so it wasn't necessary. And when I see her and I can feel, just looking at Maddie, I can feel the sense of helplessness. Can you imagine from age 7 to 12 being raped by your mom's boyfriend and having your mom really, really being part of it as far as allowing it to happen? You know, there's nothing anyone could say to convince me that that mom did not know and did not allow that. So I don't need to do a reading because the effect on me would be crushing. It would be crushing to feel that pain that I already could feel just by looking at Maddie. So the motive would be that they were trying to get custody of Faith, and that CPS was going to interview Sebastian. And if it came out, if Sebastian talked to CPS about the abuse in the house, then they would never get custody of Faith. That was the motive. And let's see. I don't know if they'll find Sebastian or not. I don't know if they will. They might, but I don't know. And, you know, his father hopes they'll find him alive, and Dog the Bounty Hunter hopes they'll find him alive, and I hope they'll find him alive, you know. But when you look at this family and how violent they are, how manipulative they are, and how vindictive they are, how Chris Proudfoot actually stated if people knew the truth about Sebastian, they wouldn't be looking for him. Okay, that's a quote by Chris Proudfoot. Now, do you think the person who would say something like that would not also go do the ultimate evil act? Especially if he hated him so bad that so a lot of autistic people don't have as much self-control. So if he was taken out, like this boy across the street from me was autistic, and the police brought him home a couple times. He went to the park and he took his clothes off. So if that's what Chris's justification is, that people wouldn't be looking for him, is he then capable of doing the ultimate harm? And the answer to that is yes. So I'm not accusing him of doing it. I didn't see him do it. I'm not accusing anybody really of doing it. I'm just going over my reading and from the criminal justice background as to if it's a possibility. And yes, it's absolutely possible. And this family is absolutely capable. And I don't think they saw him as an actual person. They could have even figured they were just doing justified in getting rid of him.
Getting rid of a problem like that, you think, Donna?
Well, yeah. I don't think they saw him as a human being. They're like, oh, he's messed up. He's you know, taking
damaged goods.
He's pooping his pants. Let's just take him out to the woods.
Oh God.
You know, and sometimes people do that even if they're not trying to hide from CPS the fact that they abused him and that they're trying to get custody of someone else's child. So someone was asking me if it's possible, I think.
Okay.
So Bernadette was asking, the police asked for clues. No, and that's why I haven't done any more work on it. The police have not asked for clues. And from what I understand, Kathy Bowersox is friends with the police people, some police in the police department. She probably donates money. I mean, she's a hustler for this real estate business of hers.
I'm sure. And you know what bothers me is they never even went with luminol into that home ever, from what I understand, unless they have since I last spoke to people who know.
Yeah.
So that's really troubling.
It's very troubling. I mean, there have been a couple of cases where an autistic person left their house and 3 years later they're picked up by police, right? So you can hope that way, but the odds are not good.
No, for sure. Completely, Donna.
I didn't get much past the honeysuckle. I'm only on 6 minutes here.
Okay, so question. So the buck-toothed Billy that you describe with the corn thing. Was it that you saw a corn kernel in his tooth?
They showed me over and over about that. Let's see if I can find it.
Okay.
Oh, here it is. Okay, so starting at 6 minutes, and they're showing me the house again, and then they go to, let's see. Then they show me a corn cob. Then they show me a man. He's eating the corn cob, and then there's a corn stuck on his tooth. But I'm getting this feeling maybe he has a cap on his tooth or missing a tooth. So okay. You see, I hadn't seen a picture of him because it's like I'm like, there's something to do with this guy's front tooth, but I don't even know what it is. Okay. Right? How they got me to really recognize it, they shows me someone eating a corn cob and the corn sticking out there, sticking on his tooth. And then I'm like, wow, corn on his tooth. And then I'm seeing someone with a cap on their tooth, and I'm seeing someone with a missing tooth. But either way, they want me to talk about this front tooth. Right.
And that couldn't better describe him. That couldn't better describe, you know who, in my opinion.
I had at least 100 people send me a screenshot, a close-up of Terry Bowersox the next day.
But what's crazy, Donna, is I can't believe that you didn't automatically think, well, you had never seen his picture, never mind. Like, because to me, it's the most notable thing about this dude is the tooth. You know?
Yeah, and I was aware. I had never watched a whole episode of T-Rev. I just thought, well, that's really nice. He's hung up on this one case. I think I'll help him. And I shared it to my thing just because it's a missing kid.
Okay.
But I didn't watch it. So if he showed, I don't even know if he showed a picture of that guy then or not, but I was just like aware. So it's like, there's this buzz out there, but I'm just always doing readings. Right. And I'm like, well, that's nice. He's really sticking on to that, you know? And so I shared his thing just because of that. But yeah, when they sent me that the next day, and then maybe there's a cap, maybe it's missing something to do with his tube. And then, but it's like literally how they bring through, it's just like charades, and they're showing me him eating the corn. And then all of a sudden he's got a piece of corn on his tooth. Really, I would guess again, the interpretation part, it could be something else. Makes more sense like the corn cob, but for that, then I did see the man. I'll tell you.
Okay, can you describe him really?
I don't want to get in trouble for accusing people, but I saw him.
Okay, can you talk about it?
No.
Oh, you don't want to do it?
Just for legal reasons. Okay. I don't want to talk about it, but I did see the man and I did see the woman.
Is there any detail that you could say that's vague enough?
Yeah, that his tooth sticks out.
Oh, just the tooth. Okay, so that's as much as you want to say.
No, I saw his coloring, his hair color and stuff is also consistent.
Oh, and it's nice. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. If I was the police, I would be every single cell tower. Really, it should be the FBI. Every single cell tower Terry Bowersox's phone place hit that night. I mean, that's why, you know, some of these I can do a reading.
Yeah.
But if the police aren't going to pay attention to it, or somebody who knows them, it's it's only after the fact that we're gonna get some answers. And then I kept seeing the little girl. So she was around 7 or 8. So that place that they brought her to, a girl around 7 or 8 is also associated with that house. And I didn't think it was Faith. At the time, I thought Faith was older, but I still think it was someone else. And I also heard on the grapevine later that did Chris and Katie Proudfoot go pick up their niece on Saturday night, the same day that Sebastian went missing, and they reported.
Oh, yeah.
And whose child was that?
So. Sisters. I think it's Chris's sister's child is who they picked up. I think, if I'm remembering correctly. But Chris wasn't there. Remember, he was in Memphis, supposedly. But
yeah, his story really doesn't really land in the wash. You know, he could have also left where he's going, and or they could have taken care of it for him. But something's eating him alive, man. At court. That looks to me like
I thought he looked unrecognizable, Donna, in the photos I had seen. I thought, whoa, is this stress eating? What's the deal? And it could be. I don't know.
Is it stress, or does he got a demonic attachment? Because when you do things like that,
it sticks to you.
even if you start having negative thoughts and you allow them to fester, like you want to hurt someone, you want to hurt someone, you want to hurt someone, that energy will be out like a frequency, and little demons, most people don't even sense them. The dark energies will come and help you with ideas, and they're going to attach to you and feed off you after that too. So they're not going to do it for free, just like the mafia, so people should really even control their thoughts. Like if you have a thought and you're like, why would I have that thought? That's not like me, because it probably wasn't from you. It really does work that way. So, he just looks, his face, barely recognizable.
Oh, honestly, when people were posting that on Facebook, I thought, oh, they're just comparing his looks to someone else. That's not him. And I go, wait, that's him in court? What? I was shocked. I couldn't believe it.
I was too. I had to look at him a couple times. I was like, whoa. He's seen him alive.
Has to be. But it's weird because for some people, when they're stressed, they hardly, like, that's what happens to me. I hardly eat. But when some other people are stressed, they can't stop eating. So it's crazy how different people process the stress.
Yeah, some people, it's like food nurturing themselves. Nurturing themselves, and then other people are just like stomachs in knots and they can't.
See, I eat a lot. Like when I'm happy, I'm a huge eater. When I'm sad or stressed or whatever, forget it. I hardly eat. It's very weird how I do deal with it. By the way, I want to tell you, there are some people here that were in my live stream the other day. My daughter, I talked about my daughter and how she had like a lymph node pop out on her neck recently, like 2.5 months ago, actually. And so I had an ultrasound done on her neck yesterday, and that's the phone call I got. And thankfully, the doctor said she's okay right now. That's the sense they got from the ultrasound. So I wanted to share the good news because I know people have been praying for my daughter, and I really, really appreciate it. It's been crazy. So
she's okay?
She's okay. Thankfully, she's okay.
Oh, yeah, that's scary.
It's been horrible, Donna. It's been crazy stuff lately, which we can get into maybe some other time. But yeah, it's been awful. It's been a hard summer, honestly. Yeah. But anyway, not to interrupt.
Thank God. And I had an MRI too, which is one of the reasons I do monetize my channel. So I've had 27 skin cancer surgeries. I've had a year of chemotherapy. I've had 8 weeks of radiation. Sometimes when I forget sentences or names, I had never been the same since they did radiation. The cancer was growing up my nose, and they did radiation up my nose. It was all in my lip, which is why sometimes you can't see my lip.
Wow.
All over my face. And the doctor had refused for 6 months to do a biopsy. And only when she was fired from the hospital, I asked for a new doctor, and he did the biopsies. He did multiple biopsies, and it was all over my face.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so scary.
Yeah. But the good news is I got my MRI results back a couple of days ago too. And there was no cancer. They did my whole head, my brain, my sinuses, my everything. Like they're looking for it. There's no cancer. No cancer. And I'm like, oh, thank God, I should go try to buy a van and go do this now while I have I'm still here trying to get some people busted for murder.
Right. And I was trying to explain the other day that if you've gone through cancer yourself, like you have and I have, it's always going to be the underlying fear. It just is. It haunts you. It's awful. It's scary. And it's always in the back of your mind. It just is.
Yeah, because any day, it could come back, and that could be the beginning of your exit from this planet. And like in your case, you have 3 kids still at home, so no, you don't want to leave. Like if my daughter, the only reason I went through the whole chemotherapy was my daughter was still alive, and I kept saying she needs me. Like I wanted to quit because it was just so sick. It made me so sick, and I'm like, but what would she do without me?
For sure.
And at this time, and I did the radiation after she was dead. I never thought I would. So you never say never. But I kind of feel like if it came down to chemotherapy again, I kind of feel like, well, she's over there. And if I'm not in my body, then we'll be able to go fly through the galaxies together.
Oh, literally. Yeah.
So, But you never say no, because when you're confronted with it, that's when you know. But yeah, it could come at any time.
I know.
And really it can to anyone, but they don't realize it. But once you've had it, you know.
Oh, it's always there in your mind. And it kind of haunts you, honestly. The worry of it, I should say, haunts you. And I do think for me, the reason it haunts me so bad is because I have 3 kids, like you were just saying. Like, you look at dying so much different when you have kids to leave behind.
Oh, yeah. You don't want to leave your kids.
Oh, God, no.
Your kids, and you don't want them to have to grow up without you. You don't even want to leave them in their 20s, and then by the time they start having babies, you want to be able to see. So you want to have that full life, and none of us are guaranteed that.
Oh, I know. You know what really effed me up really bad was watching Steve's dad die back in April. That was, honestly, I think that's one of the most traumatizing things I've gone through yet, was just watching how much he suffered, because he had esophageal cancer, and he actually was completely in remission and everything. And then it came back and just ripped him out of this world in like 24 months. It was terrible.
It's like when it comes back, a lot of times it's even more aggressive.
Yes. And
that's
so
the scary part too. Yeah. And it's like, was he trying to have chemotherapy? Like, I kind of wonder sometimes, is it the chemotherapy that makes people so deathly ill, or is it
it made me deathly ill. Yeah, absolutely. It's terrible. And my father-in-law too. He got to a point where he just no longer did it because it wasn't doing anything for him. It wasn't helping him. It was making him be in more pain. And he had pain all over his body, like in his femur, in his shoulder. I mean, it was everywhere.
And they can't really manage it anymore, right, with the painkillers.
Like the painkillers, they wouldn't touch it. It was crazy.
That's scary. See, that's at that point, I don't know. You never know until you're faced with it. But I mean, I even thought, because I was having this weird pain in my head, and I was kind of worried the last couple of months while I was waiting for the MRI if I could have brain cancer or something like that. So I was kind of worried. And then I didn't look it up yet, but I know in California they do have assisted, euthanasia or whatever.
And Canada too. Yeah.
And even in Washington, they have it. And I learned about that when my mom was dying. She was begging for it, but it was too late because it takes like 6 weeks. You got to have a couple different doctors, I think, sign you off, and you have to wait. So you really have to get ready ahead of time if you're going to do that. But, if there's a point of no return and where you're in so much pain that you can't control it, I don't know what I'll do, but that is on the table for sure.
For sure. And I
find out or something though.
Yeah, no, I totally get it. And I used to be so against that. It goes to show how much your values can change in your lifetime, because a lot of things I used to be totally against, I kind of understand more today, and assisted suicide is one of them, because these cases where the person is so deathly ill and every day is a nightmare for them, to keep them in this world, it's not fair to them, in my opinion.
No, my mom suffered for 3 months while she couldn't even roll over herself. She had originally had uterine cancer, and then she had radiation. And then 7 years later, the uterine cancer came back, and they said her whole abdomen was scar tissue. They couldn't do surgery because when you have radiation, it literally cooks the meat inside, cooks your organs or whatever. So they couldn't. So then they tried to give her chemo, and that didn't work. And so she told them, forget it. She ended up in urgent care or whatever. And she told them no. And she didn't have chemo, but she still lived another 5 years just with cancer. And the doctor said eventually, your uterus will either burst and then you'll get sepsis, which is what happened probably. But she did get sepsis. And then she was in intensive care for 10 days. And then from there, it was 3 months in a convalescent home where she couldn't even move her hand. She couldn't even try to get a drink. It was like this. She was paralyzed from the sepsis. She was begging me to go out on the street and find something for her to help her end it. And I'm like, I'm not going to prison for you because I told you this was going to happen 10 years ago. Okay. She made my sister power of attorney, and my sister doesn't believe in that. So my sister said, she should die naturally. So for 3 months she suffered. she suffered immensely because
Oh,
I sat
God.
with her 2 weeks at her deathbed, and she was just miserable.
Yeah.
And she couldn't even roll over. Like they had to come in to roll her over a couple times a day. It's just, she couldn't even move.
Well, you know what pisses me off so bad is, you know, they've probably got the cure to it already, and they suppress the cure. The government does. God, that's a whole other story.
I know. Watch out, the censorship on YouTube is like at an all-time high right now.
Oh, I know. So I'll be careful with that. Tread lightly, but I think
but
you guys know what I mean.
Yeah, to me too. Yeah, chemotherapy. It's like you're poisoning the body, hoping to kill the cancer and have the body survive.
Right.
Like
it's
when I had chemotherapy and it was finally over, and I walked out in my backyard, the shovel was laying there where I had left it a year before. The last time I was strong enough to even go out of the house to my backyard. I mean, and my beautiful, beautiful, this big flower plant, hibiscus, really pretty peachy pink hibiscus, was dead. You know, it was just, it was like, it was really weird. It was like Rip Van Winkle. It was like for a year, I would look at water only 5 feet away, and I would have to will myself to try to get the water. I was so weak, you know.
Jeez, Donna.
And Nicole would come home from work, and she'd walk by and she'd go, "You better get your ass off the couch or you're going to die. Get up now." Like she just had no clue. And I could tell she was just so scared.
Oh, you know? So scared.
Fear. And she's trying to tell me to get up. And I'm like looking at this water, like I can't even get, you know, 3 feet to get this water. And so it's like the things we survive. And I'm glad your daughters, so did they say why her lymph node might have got swollen like that?
No, they didn't. They said that, you know, over the next bit of time, it should go back down, but it was frightening. Like, I'm telling you guys, I've been so worried about her. Oof.
Especially with your history, especially.
Yes. And I've got issues right now of my own I won't even begin to go into, but it's weird. There's just some weird stuff that's going on. That has been going on for the last 9 months, but really bad for the last like 3 months.
Yeah.
But see, I had a CT scan done, and he said, no, I mean, everything looks good, but they didn't do one of my back, which is where I'm having some issues. So whatever. I don't know.
It's weird how they do that, isn't it?
It is. But, you know, just to hear the ER say, you're okay, man, it made me feel so much better. Like I've been losing a lot of sleep over it, you know, but it's still, I'm still worried. It's just maybe a little bit less, because he said, hey, you're okay. Your blood's good. You know, all this stuff is good.
So they did the CT of the front of you, but not the actual.
Right.
I wonder why they always are doing stuff like that.
I know. I don't get it either. But let's see. I want to say what's wrong because I might get somebody who tells me, because maybe they had it happen to them. But at the same time, I don't want to be too graphic. But basically, I feel like I have to pee all the time. I've had the test of like a UTI done on me to see if it's a UTI. I've been put on medicines for UTI, bladder infection, even for, what do they call it? Fungal, even for fungal infection. So I've been on all these medicines, and the urge is still there. I feel like, so that's what's happened. And then I have a pain in my back that is always there. It's a dull pain. It's not like a sharp shooting pain. It's a dull pain. Anyway, scares me, freaks me out. But they don't know what's wrong with me, so I got to go to a urologist on the 20th.
Oh, good. You're going to a urologist.
Yes, thank God.
Yeah, because sometimes it could be your bladder collapses. That sometimes, but around 40, sometimes things start falling apart a little bit.
Things are shifting.
Yeah. You know, I didn't have to wear glasses at all until I was 40, and then I only needed reading glasses, but it wasn't until I was like, I think 50 or 55, I just started needing glasses. So it's
so weird, isn't it? The body changes. Like for me, I noticed right when I turned 30, my vision changed. And I've noticed it a lot lately too, that I can't see as well as I could even like a year ago. So it's,
I know that's right. It was right after 40 where I had to start wearing reading, because I thought I just didn't like to read anymore. And then my niece who had glasses, she goes, why don't you just try my glasses? And I read for 8 hours straight. So I could actually, or it looked like these little bouncy ants that were moving around.
Weird.
Like I could actually see. So then I went to the eye doctor.
Wow, that's crazy. Really crazy. Some people are telling me, oh, somebody
A lot of
says,
people are
Lauren,
having the symptoms you're talking about.
yeah, they're saying, somebody says, hi, Glitter Beauty. She says, Lauren, I legit have the same exact symptoms. I constantly think I have a UTI, but no. Do you have pain in your back, Glitter Beauties? Just one little spot? See, and my mom goes, Lauren, that sounds like kidney stones. And I'm like, it seems like it could be, but they said I don't.
Well, the kidney stones would be up around your waistline, but right on both sides of your spine. But if it's lower than that, then it's probably not your kidneys. It could be a bulging disc, but you're right. You know, cancer is always the scare if you've already
it
had
is. It's always in the background of worries. And it's funny. Do you remember I told you I saw this beautiful lady at Hobby Lobby and she goes, I watch your YouTube. She was so nice. I remember I sent you a message. I'm like, Donna, I just saw something so cool. That day when I saw her was really when I was in the thick of feeling absolutely miserable. So I regretted not getting to stop and talk to her, but I felt really bad that day. So I just, in case she's here, I just
you were just like,
yeah, I was just, well, I was so excited to see her, but I felt so bad, you know, on the inside. So I was muted and, you know.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I've had that experience too, where I actually went to meet someone who was found on YouTube. She was going to buy me lunch, but I was already sick. And then I'm like, well, I'll try to go there. And I'm like, oh my God, I got to go. Now I'm sick. I'm like, oh, that poor lady. Like,
oh my gosh. Yeah. When you don't feel good, it's horrible. It's rough.
Yeah.
Oh man. Sorry guys. I really got on a whole rabbit trail there, but
I'm glad your daughter's all right though. There's
me too.
To me, there's nothing more important than family.
Absolutely.
And your children.
Absolutely. Yeah. So it's been weighing heavily. I'm relieved in that sense. I just need answers for what's been going on with me, and then I'll feel better.
Yeah. But at least they cleared some things. Like for me, at least I know I don't have sinus cancer, because your mind can start. I'm like, oh my, there's a little cyst in there or something, and I could feel this pressure. Yeah. So it's like I'm like, oh my God, I might have cancer here, and I've been having these headaches. I might have cancer here, and then that's part of the reason I demonetized my YouTube channel. I'm like, well, if I'm going to die, I might as well just demonetize this, you know. So yeah, it's a big deal. What we go on, you know, what everyone deals with. A lot of people deal with. 1 out of 5 people get cancer in their life,
and now it's soaring. It's soaring right now, and you know, in my circle alone, like family, good friends, friends of family, I know of 4 people. Wait, actually, I think it's 5 now. 5 right now fighting it. Usually, you know of like 5 people that are pregnant. In my case, I know 5 people are going through it. That's a lot of people.
Yeah, a lot of people are getting it, and yeah, a lot of people are getting cancer right now.
It's because of the shit they've been putting in our food.
Yeah, we're being poisoned for sure.
Ugh.
Okay, so
we'll go back. I can always cut that out later, hopefully. So,
or you can just leave it.
Or leave it. I mean, we're human. We got problems, right?
Because look, I don't know how many people are in there or how many people will watch, but if I think 10 or 15 years ago it was 1 out of 5, I would bet right now it's 1 out of 3 people are getting cancer. You know, it's common. It's more common than you realize it, but nobody says anything, and then so they think they're alone. Maybe it's good people know they're not alone, you know?
Yes, and you know what? I want to take this moment while we're talking about this and urge everybody, go get checked out. Don't be like me and put stuff off like I've done in the past because I was too fearful. If you have a problem and it doesn't make sense to you, go get it checked out and follow it through to completion until they really say, okay, you're good, you're fine. Because guys, it could save your life. And I also wanted to say, because I know how important this is to know, and it's not like widely known information, but my father-in-law, when he had esophageal cancer and didn't know it, he started having trouble swallowing. Average things, small things, big things. He just started choking on his food. You guys, everybody needs to know that, because if you find that you're, choking or something on your food, go get checked out. If they find it early enough, you're good. So it could save your life. It could save somebody's life that you love. And that's why I wanted to share that. with you, and I've been forgetting to share that, but it's important.
If something about your body, like, yeah, he couldn't swallow, and so you wouldn't leap to think it was cancer.
Yeah.
But it wasn't normal.
Right.
Yeah, a lot of people, they say a lot of cancer can be fixed if people would get into the doctor sooner.
And find out soon, yeah, for sure. I know. Anyway, I guess we should carry on with the last parts of the reading.
I know, because I'm only on to 10 minutes. I'm only
okay.
10 minutes. Okay, let's see. So it keeps giving names. Basically, the reading sounds like it's trying to describe the house, because then I'm saying could be a name like Sky High, Sky Ridge, Skyline, something like that. Says, the biggest chills I received on this entire reading is about woodworking. This person who owns this house, I think he has something to do with woodworking, wooden boxes, specialty type woodworking cabinets, which is interesting. And then after looking at that interview with them and noticing, hey, all over their house, they have these little woodworking boxes. So where'd they get those?
Right.
So that, like, if the police were on top of it and paid any attention to me, they'd say, hey, where'd you get all these boxes? Makes these, you know?
Right.
And there's where they took him then. I mean, it would be easy to solve if you were in a position to solve it, I think.
Yeah. It's the likelihood of getting one of these detectives to listen. I mean, you and I have gone through that now for years, trying to get anybody to listen.
I know. I called the one on the Summer Wells case. I called him 5 times. He never talked to me, and he never called me back. So.
Oh, yeah. Well, they figure we're intruding, and it's their case, and that you're going to be wrong anyway. And the thing is, your tips, as we've talked about in the past, have been so right on that it later came out in the court testimony that what you said originally was exact, and that was the DNA on the tools in the outbuilding.
Right. On the Lori Vallow, I had, after that case, I wrote a essay for an essay contest for Robert Bigelow, who owned the Skinwalker Ranch. And I don't know, the FBI got a hold of that. I didn't send it to them, but they submitted it to, and so did the what's that small town called where Chad was? I already forgot the name of it.
Yeah.
Anyway, Rexburg Police, they both submitted it to the district attorney, and then they actually had a whole hearing, which I downloaded, and so East Idaho News couldn't edit it out later. But they argued for 10 minutes about the psychic information. And then the prosecutor, Leslie Blake, said, we're not having psychic visions in this trial anyway, so we don't need to argue about it. You know, like,
stupid.
Yeah.
I know.
But most states have laws that they can't get a warrant based on a psychic information. They have to find corroborating information. Even if the cop was willing to listen, he would still need to find an actual different reason. Like when the FBI found cell phone pings, you know, around the fire pit and around by that lake with the tree, the pond with the tree, one tree or whatever, like I described.
Yeah, in the Lori Vallow. Yeah.
They said they found that, and then they could get a warrant then. They can't say, gosh, the psychic seems to be on top of it, and, you know, she has an accurate path, so judge, can we go search? They can't. Almost every state has a law about that.
Right. Yeah.
So, yeah, the big chills were about this woodworking. Then I saw the really old tractor on the property. Looks like it's from the 50s, 30s, 40s, 50s, but it's being used as a decoration.
Okay.
Decorated mailbox. Again, the little girl, saw her multiple times, 7 or 8 years old.
What did she look like?
She's a witness. She had brunette hair, and there was some curls in it. It was kind of long, but I don't know if they were someone put curls or if it's naturally wavy or something. I don't know.
Okay.
So she saw him there. So I'm going on and on about the house. Again, I mentioned Maplewood again. So Maplewood then could be on the house, or it could be a name of a street, or it could be a name of a town. It could be a name of a neighborhood. But it will appear if they do solve this. Yeah, I said it again. I mentioned that green dark. It's like so dark. It's not black, but it's like almost black. It's like super dark forest green truck.
Okay.
And then
older model? Donna?
Just a work truck.
Okay.
Not any particular age, just a work truck, because it had that little frame where work people hired, put pipes, and they put PVC pipes and they hang ladders from it. Had one of those.
Okay.
So then they show me the raised flower beds again. So in conjunction at this house, there's these raised flower beds, and I did see him hit in the back of the head with a shovel. I saw him like that, and then I kept seeing the flower beds and having this ominous feeling, like wondering about that. But
yeah,
I didn't follow it. And because honestly, it also came on the heels of me praying to God not to see, and also seeing Seth talked about how traumatized he was. So on both things, I'm just like, okay, I'm letting it go here and focusing on describing this location.
Wasn't there speculation about garden beds in the Proudfoot home, outside of the Proudfoot home, Donna?
That sounds familiar.
It does. You know what? I think the neighbors I spoke to were talking about that.
Wouldn't that be? Did they just put them in after this happened? Wouldn't that be weird if the whole thing was at their house?
See, that's what is crazy, especially when you say honeysuckle and knowing that it's close.
It's around the block.
It's very close. Yeah.
Oh, and then there's those new housing tracks going into. That's construction workers tend to bury bodies in places like that a lot.
Right.
It seems like, people are so stupid. Like Chad Daybell up in Idaho. Okay, you have a whole state that's basically trees.
Yes.
And then you bury them in your backyard. Like,
I know.
Super stupid.
Yeah. Of all the places he could have done it, right? Buried them.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Okay, so then at 14 minutes, I'm saying, how you see things is a little, this is really important. Steadfast, the name, steadfast. Yeah. It's a word. It could be a brand or name or company or small business name. It could be on the side of someone's tool chest, but it says steadfast. That's important. Like I just got the chill again when I said that. Let me see what this says. It's important. It is related. I mean, I even got a chill again right now.
Okay, so this person is in some way associated with this word, whether it's a business, something itself.
I think have an RV repair thing. They might have tools. Like if you look it up, there's a few things related to the words. There's even the Steadfast RV Park, which also has an old tractor in front. Like there's potential. So like if someone was keeping a track, they'd see that and then put every potential. And at some point, every potential, you'll see a cluster. A cluster in the clues. Like, okay, it's all pointing this way now,
Right. You know what really is so weird to me is how controlling it feels like CP and KP are over their son's disappearance and the information that gets out. Right.
Well, they don't even want people to talk about it.
Right. And this,
you want your son back? No, they don't want him back. They never even said they want him back. Have you noticed that?
I know. And then you
said, "Oh, we miss him. We need him.
Right.
Please help us." No, they've said people need to stop talking about this. And even at one point, Chris said, "I'm not worried because in a month or so, this will go away." He said that a few months ago too. Sorry to interrupt.
And then you think about and compare how Nina cried about her baby being stolen, and then how Katie acts and her son is gone.
She's just blunt.
Night and day difference.
She's just blunt, no emotion.
Weird.
And she looks at him for every answer.
Yeah. Well, you know what always gets me too, Donna, is that one interview where she changes her voice and suddenly has this like Southern thing going on, Southern draw going on. And he wanted blah, blah, blah. And she's doing like the Southern thing. Do you know what I'm talking about? It's the hands. Yeah. Wait, was it the hands interview? It might have been. But it's the one that shows just their hands together. And then she's talking so sweet like this. And I asked Seth about that. He goes, yeah, everybody's like calling bullshit on that because they know she doesn't talk like that. So it couldn't be more obvious that she's feigning emotion.
Yeah, so that could be potentially borderline personality disorder too. I mean, and that's another reminder. Is Seth told me, I've talked to him on the phone a couple times, and he told me that when he was married to her, he woke up a few different times where she had been drinking, and she just started attacking him while he was asleep, physically. So there you've got that as well. So then on this reading, right at 14 minutes and 30 seconds, I'm saying, a name popped into my head now. You know what? These can be random or they can mean something. So I just got to say, because sometimes there's mind garbage, you know, sometimes you're just picking something floating up out there. But it says a name popped into my head right now, and this can be random or can it mean something? So I just got to say first, Danny comes in. Danny boy, Danny O. Then Danelle, like it's like I'm Danny. It's like when I hear things, it's almost like leaves on the wind, right? And so it turns out there's two Dannys in this family. One is Kathy Bowersock's nephew, Danny Guy, who builds custom homes and does custom woodwork. Then there's also, I don't know if it's does Chris Proudfoot have a son somewhere that moved to another state, or who was that? There's a Danny. Maybe it's Danny Bowersock's son. Does he have a son named Danny? So that person moved to it. So there's two different Dannys. So I'm not accusing anyone, right? I'm not accusing anyone of anything. I'm just.
But I gotta call somebody out real quick. Hey, Bueller, get the hell out of here. Nobody wants you in here. I don't like the way you're talking, and you're being just incredibly rude to my guest. So go. See ya. Sorry, Donna. I'm not taking these people.
Don't let your ass hit the door on the way out. Yeah. We've been at this so long that trolls. You know what? It's a simple delete.
Yeah,
it's a simple delete
for sure. So it's just I've had enough.
It's Danny. There's a Danny involved, and I said so. Phonetically think of something Daniel. Now it could be like it would be most likely a person's name, but you always got to remember it could be the name of a nearby school, could be a road, could be anything. So at that time I didn't know about the relatives with that name. Right. And I also didn't. It turns out that they were at Danny Guy's house the night before. And Danny Guy is the person who got his computer taken by the police. And that at Danny Guy's house is where Sebastian got in trouble. But at the time of this reading, I had not known that. I never even heard of him.
Okay.
So I'm not accusing him. And also, like, just know, you know, psychics, it's all conjecture. It's speculation. It's the level of speculation. It's just people talking. And this is not a declaration of anyone's guilt or innocence.
For sure. Absolutely.
Let's see if there's anything. So just going on about this Danny thing again.
Yeah. That seems important for sure, Donna.
Oh, it's there.
Yeah, if it keeps, you know, going at you like that, saying Danny, some derivative of Dan or whatever, I think it's important.
Yeah, so you got Popcorn Tooth Guy and then the Danny name.
Okay.
And then you've got this family that works together to manipulate, to cause violence, and just a brutal, vindictive family.
Right.
And then here I'm even talking about a neighborhood being built by Steadfast, or maybe she told me at this point. I don't know.
She, as in Seth's sister, is that what
you're Seth's sister. So I what it was I didn't even upload the original reading because my other computer, which is really funny because on the Chad Daybell case, you might have been on that live stream where I started talking about Melanie Gibb being a witch. And I was getting really mad.
I think I did see that. Yeah.
Sometimes when I get really mad, it affects electricity. And my computer just starts spinning like it was going to go flying out of the thing. And then from then on, my computer went down. So my computer wasn't even working. I had to sit there with my cell phone and just make a list, listen to it, make a list. And that's what's over there on my channel.
Wow. I do urge everybody in here, especially if you're a critic, a skeptic, go listen to what she's done in the past. And because they're all time-stamped, you can't contest it and say, oh, well, you know, she somehow like manufactured it. It's not possible. YouTube timestamps your video, which means it has the exact date and time that you uploaded that video. And in the instance of Chad Daybell, Lori Vallow case, that was 4 months before. There's no disputing that you didn't totally nail that whole case. Yeah. But there's other ones. It's not just that. There's Gabby Petito. There's Dylan Rounds. There's, in my opinion, a lot of what you've said about Summer Wells has checked out too. Though they
a lot of the stuff and the implications started being in the months following.
Yeah.
And the Gabby, so people should know that Gabby Petito, the original Gabby Petito, is on Lauren's channel here.
Yeah.
And she wanted me to do it. And then I'm like, I don't know if it was Sunday or what, but I was just like, oh, I just want to like cook breakfast and watch Netflix. But if you want to put some pictures in a title, I'll just send it to you. And she uploaded it. So it has a couple 100,000 views, but people accused me of being a liar and I don't even care anymore. And when the FBI finally released their report 6 months later, it confirmed every single thing.
Every detail. And you know what? Idaho 4 also, you described Kohberger. I know people don't think Kohberger did it, but you described him.
Did it. I would have no problem being on the execution squad for him.
I know.
I don't, there's no doubt in my mind that he did it.
Yeah. You detailed him. And I think the whole hunter thing about him and seeing him kill things, I think he hunted a lot on his parents' property, according to his friend who's talked about it. They used to go out and shoot bow and arrows and all kinds of stuff. So I think that's why you saw that hunter thing about him. You know what I'm saying, Donna?
It could be that as well.
Yeah.
But I was in because there's different parts. Like here, I'm talking about one thing, and there I'm talking in Xana's room. I go, why is there a hunter in here? Why is there a hunter? But the next day, the person that the roommate sent in to see if to find the dead bodies was named Hunter.
Yeah, the twin.
That was Ethan's friend Hunter. So again, that's how they show things. It's all visions. So it's like to say the name Hunter, they show me a hunter,
right.
To show me like Kohberger Bread Company. If you look it up, they have their own Wikipedia page. And I says, okay, they showed me the killer, 6 feet tall, brunette, wavy hair, about 30 years old. I nailed it. I gave a better description than, I forgot her name, the girl in the room. I gave a better description than her. And then I said, okay, they're showing me this killer guy, but they're showing me him in a family-owned bakery, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is, they're trying to show me Kohberger breads. I should have looked up family-owned bakery and not limited it to Moscow, because that was kind of a hard one. But I mean, if the FBI or his family specifically, his sister and his mom, Kohberger Breads is the largest family-owned bakery in Europe, but they also serve all of the East Coast, and they're very popular in Pennsylvania, where his family is. So if they had heard that, then they'd probably put it together.
I would have clicked more. Yeah. Very interesting, huh?
Yeah, just the way that they show anything I see can, and when if there's a mistake, it's in the translation, and that's usually true with most people who are developed psychics.
Yes. And Mar, hey, great point she makes here. Rev Donna also spoke about the pool party before it was known. Correct. You spoke about that, I want to say early January, and then it came out in the news, I think, in March. Am I about right?
It was January 3rd, and I had done a reading the night before for a couple friends of Xana's, and they didn't even know Kaylee, right? And Kaylee comes forward during that reading, and it was like I could feel her spirit hands. She was grabbing my face like this and putting her face right in my face, because they wanted to hear from Xana, and Xana did it, and then they wanted to hear from. They had met. They'd only met Kaylee a couple times, but Kaylee's like, "No, I need to tell you something." And Kaylee went on and on, showing me stuff about this pool party. And the next day, so that was January 3rd. I uploaded that, and then January 4th, I was just like, that was so important to Kaylee. I need to upload it on its own so that people really hear this.
So,
and it was January 4th. And then it was like around January 13th, it was 9 days later, Nancy Grace is knocking on doors in Moscow, and the DJ answers, and he goes, "Oh yeah, I brought him to a pool party." It's like it's confirmed. And then it's like several months later, I think it's Long Crime, that channel, they did like a pretty good documentary on it. And then they interviewed that DJ even more in depth. But no matter what comes out, these so-called leaks and speculations, and then people assume it's fact because there's nothing and they want to keep talking about it or whatever.
Yeah.
Trust me when I tell you, Brian Kohberger ran into who is probably Kaylee, probably outside of while she was waiting for Maddie and Dana. It could have been, at the time, I didn't know the difference between the two girls at the time of the first reading, so it really could have been either one, but I just had a feeling it was her, Kaylee. And but anyways, he followed her up the street, and that's when I got that really good description. And he tried talking to her and she wasn't interested. Okay. Then there's the pool party. He approached Kaylee at that pool party. It bothered Kaylee immensely, and it was clear that all her friends would know. All her friends would know what this was about. She would have told them, right? And then that's confirmed later. So when the police come out and say, oh, he didn't stalk them, or blah, 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 you know, whatever they're trying to say, when the reading is that strong, where I'm out of my body and I have no body awareness at all, and it's like I'm there in 3D watching all this. I watched that whole murder scene. I could argue about anything that says, you know, the order of death. So here's another thing mainstream media does. Mainstream media will pick a story. And that story sounds good to them. Like Howard Bloom's book is full of inaccuracies, but that sounds good. That's the story we're going with, you know. And then they all keep repeating the same story as if it's true, and it's not true, you know. So, I don't have any qualms about saying that Brian Kohberger is 100% guilty. Yeah. The other thing, though, I will give, there's the one channel that sits there every day making videos about how he's innocent or whatever.
Yeah.
And I watched, because someone asked me to watch it. So I watched 2 or 3 and I disagreed with him, but I think that's good. People have different opinions and tear stuff apart. I don't have a problem with that. He did do one that I thought was so good. And the argument for that video was he was making that the one guy who got shot, what's the guy's name? Kopaka? Brian Kopaka?
Kopaka, yeah.
Or Brett Kopaka or something
like that.
That he got shot because when they shot him, they believed he was the suspect. That's what the guy's saying in his, and I do believe it, because the first time I saw him, I also recognized him too. I recognized Brian. The first time I saw him, I was like, oh, there you are.
There you are, yeah.
Yeah, that was my feeling. But with Kopaka, I also recognized him, and I believe that to be true. I believe when they shot and killed him, they believed he was guilty. You know, I don't think he should have been shot like that.
Right. It is really weird that they would just target him in the way they did without trying other means first. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, and then one of the cops who gave the order, I'm unclear, so I don't want to misspeak, but I think, were they in Afghanistan together or something like that?
That's what I've heard.
There's some weird connection. I saw a photo. I don't know if it's him and his brother, or if he was in the same troop or in the same group. So there's some connection. And then he orders essentially the execution of him. So that whole thing, and then they covered it all up real fast. You know, really, that whole really thing. Fast. And then they won't release FOIA things about it, Freedom of Information Act. They say, oh, it's still under investigation. And it's like, that's a cover up there, and he shouldn't have been shot. And I think they believed that he was the guy when they did shoot him.
See, and I don't know enough about it, but it did seem like it was awfully fast, and for no apparent reason, except maybe he was acting a little nutty, which a lot of people act nutty. Why didn't they just arrest him and take him to like a loony bin for 24 hours?
They provoked him and they wanted to shoot him.
Yeah, it's weird. It's creepy. You know what, Donna? Let me address some of these sweet super stickers. Let's see. Okay. Chunky Soul, thank you so much for your $5 super sticker. Sweetie and Donna sending lots of love. Thank you for this live. Thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate you being here. And thank you, Donna, for coming on with me. It's been so nice to visit with you. And then this guy, I'm not even going to address this guy. He's being a total asshole.
He came back on here.
What was that?
He come back on here, that guy?
No, he sent a super chat just so he could mad dog me. Let's see. Y'all will ruin their name no matter what they do. They learned that from the beginning. All I hear is Seth, hold me on your end. Yeah, you're
okay, Booler. Okay, Booler, why don't you go stick your head up Bowersock's ass? I don't care. I won't defend murderers, and I won't run from them either. I'm not afraid of these people. They disgust me.
I know.
Absolutely disgust me.
Sally, thank you so much for becoming a member. Guys, I do have a membership. If you want to become a member, there's a lot of videos on there that I don't show to just everybody, different conversations and things. So hope you enjoy that membership, Sally. Oh, and she says she blocked him. Good. Thanks, Mar. Girl power. I like it.
People think they can provoke you and bait you. And it's like, after you've been on here a while, it's like, go stick your bait on somewhere else, because it doesn't affect me.
I know. It's irritating, you know. And I have to get bold like that with them, or they're just gonna bring in the crazies. So
if they see that you care, like what I do on my channel is, if I don't care if someone disagrees. Like, I have people on there all the time, they've watched some other channel and they're like, how come you said Koberger did it? How could you say that? One person was even saying how attractive he was. And I'm like,
oh gosh.
But I mean, that doesn't offend me. And it doesn't offend me if they disagree with me. But if they start doing personal attacks, then I just block them. That's how I am too.
Yeah. Anymore, it's just like, I don't have time for this. I got too many things going on to care about you people, you know? It's crazy.
By you people, she means the mean ones.
Yeah. You people as in the trolls, not you wonderful people.
You would be surprised to find out that there's people that think it's an entire sport to sit on the internet and mess with YouTubers.
Yeah,
they do. Oh, I just got home from my job. Oh, let me grab a bag of Oreos and stuff them in my mouth while I write insults on their channel.
And start writing these horrible comments to random.
You think it's funny.
It's so dumb.
And I understand that. I guess it's a release, but I just delete. I just block. I have no mercy on it.
I agree with you. By the way, everybody in here, if you could do me a solid, and if you're enjoying this, would you hit the like button? And if you don't, hit the dislike, but either way it helps. I don't care.
If it gets a bunch of likes, then they'll send it out on the
it'll circulate more to the people who want to see it. So that's the good news. I'm trying to think, Donna, if there's anything else we haven't talked about that's really important about this case. Do you think Dog the Bounty Hunter is going to be helpful in this case? What is your opinion?
Well, I think the main helpfulness of Dog the Bounty Hunter, so yes, he's extremely helpful in that he can bring publicity to the case. Right. So instantly, because he just says, hey, I'm on the case, then News Nation puts him on. Great. Yeah. That's a good thing. So like, I was in a group yesterday and people were insulting Dog the Bounty Hunter, and they're saying he's not going to do anything. He just did. He just got the case on national TV. Yeah. And when I was volunteering for 8 years as a victim advocate, the police commonly tell family members not to talk to the press. You're going to ruin our case. And then they shelved the case. 4 out of 5 murders never go to trial. And that's when they call it a murder. That's when it's not, an accident rolled as murder, or suicide, murder that's rolled as suicide. And so then that's a closed case. And then from the Department of Justice, they get grant money based on closed cases. All right.
Oh,
but I didn't realize that. Oh yeah. They've got every incentive in the world to just stamp that case and put it up.
Well, on a side note about the DOJ, they've really been weaponizing their power.
It's weaponized to the all end all.
Oh my gosh, I would love to talk about that privately with you. I've heard some crazy
stories.
Or
we have to do like on Twitter.
Yes.
If you go over there's a lot more freedom of speech to talk about things like that. But yeah, it's totally weaponized. But so they dole out grant money to all the police departments. They get more grant money if they have closed cases. So if they just roll Sebastian a runaway, it's a closed case. So, I mean, I don't know, because he isn't home. I'm not 100% sure. But if like my daughter, they go, oh yeah, she had bruises on her inner thighs, clear raid, bruises across her face, bruises on her chest and back, bruises on the back of her hands, like defensive wounds. There's a whole bunch of witnesses that heard her screaming, but that's a suicide in 4 feet of water. No, that was a murder and everyone heard it. but they get grant money for closed cases. And then when my brother was murdered, I actually recorded the prosecutor saying, oh yeah, we know your brother was murdered, but we can only afford in our budget to prosecute 1 to 2 murders a month. So we have to choose the best 2 most likely to be convicted. So real justice is not generally had for victims. You have to know that. And when you see some, I mean, you would think the high profile cases, those ones get all the money put on them. Okay, so the more publicity, the better. So if Dog Bounty Hunter is the main thing he does, is he just got that on News Nation and maybe somewhere else, maybe on Court TV, he's brought a spotlight to this case, and it's more likely for them to actually do something. So it's good just on that alone. It's a huge thing. I would tell families when I was volunteering at the violent crime place, I would say, you know what? I know the police said that to you, but I'm telling you now, call every news reporter you can. Get in front of those cameras, call them up, get it in the newspaper, because otherwise nothing will happen. That is, if it's a little blip, you know, someone gets shot in the chest and gone. They don't care. They file it.
It's so
hate to say it, but they're overworked. And, you know, after, if you see a murder every single day, you know, you see them all day long, you either get tough or you get out of the job. So you have to get this kind of indifference, and that just helps everything right along. They have 5 new murders on their desk. They have to just pick one where there's obvious evidence. You know, there's so many people who do not receive justice through the justice system.
Right. It's injustice. If anything, it's terrible. And so unfair.
Tell people something real quick?
Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. There's another case that I've been looking at.
Please.
Yeah, I did a reading, and her name is Nikki McCain. In Northern California, she disappeared. She let people know that she wanted to leave her husband. They'd been married 16 years, but he had been bruising her face for 5 years at least. And she disappeared a week before he had a court date because he had beat her up real bad. And so if you would like to hear about that case, the reading's over on my channel, which on YouTube is Psychic Rev Donna Seraphina. And I'll tell you that family surrounding that and trying to cover that up knocks this family to shame.
Completely.
Yeah. There's a lot about that case. So maybe at some point we can do a live stream about that case too.
Well, I would love for you to just hit on a little bit of what you think about it right now, because it could spur that interest in people to want to go look deeper, you know, awareness. We need to get awareness out there.
Yeah. So there's this cute little girl. I mean, she's a woman, but I guess I'm 5'9". So this girl's like 4'11". She's a woman, 39 years old, but she's like 4'11", barely 100 pounds. Her husband's a foot taller. They have 4 kids. He started beating her up. You know, there started being visible bruises on her face occasionally about 11 years into the marriage. But she loved him. But then finally, he beat her up so bad. He tied her up. He said he was going to kill her. And she eventually was able to escape. So she went to her sister's, and she had to go to the hospital. It was so bad. I mean, the police report is real bad. He beat her black and blue. And there was supposed to be a court date, I think, at the beginning of June. I don't want to get the months exactly wrong, but she went missing like a week before this court date, where they had charged him with they had charged him with kidnapping, aggravated domestic violence. So it's like serious bodily injury. So there was like, I think, 4 felonies. He was charged very serious felonies related to this severe beating that he did on her. And she told her sister that she was going to leave him. But a week before the court date for this very serious beatings, where he very well could have done some prison time, she went missing.
Most suspicious.
And it's even worse because his mother is Scott Peterson's mother on steroids, Brian Laundrie's mother on steroids, Chris Proudfoot's mother on steroids. This woman, her dad opened the casino there.
Buku money,
and hundreds of thousands of dollars go to support the local police there in Redding, California. There are, when I was reading them, I got that there are some cops that would like to bust them, and other cops perfectly willing to let it ride because of all the money. right? But this family has been involved in quite a few crimes, not just this, which this alone should be enough. But Mama Bear is over there pulling all the weight they got the case dropped against the domestic violence because she's missing. But when there was police reports, and I'm sure the police took pictures, so there should have been enough for that, but no, that's dropped. And, she's missing. The police aren't bothering doing any press conferences. And because this blonde-haired, blue-eyed lady, her father is supposedly the Native American hope in the thing, she lives like on the same block. The grandmother, her mother has a house like I described exactly in my reading up on the mountain. Okay. Yeah. And up there, this mother's, her name's Jeanette, her other son named Brian, he was up at that granny's house 11 years before with his fiance. She ended up shot in the head, and that got ruled a suicide. Yeah. Whoa. And then Jeanette's the mother of Tyler, the husband.
So she's the mom of Tyler and Brian.
Yeah.
Okay.
So now both kids get free pass for murder, right? I'm not suggesting they murder, but nobody believes it. So anyway, it did come up in the reading. I don't believe it was a suicide either, and at all, because I am the one who brought it up, and then they told me about it. So, and then Jeanette's sister, I forgot her name, but she has a couple kids too. One is named Chunner, who has an orange truck in his logo for his pit bull business. Okay. And Chunner was arrested. It's online. He was arrested before and raided, and there was like 14 dead dogs in his house. The people who raided him said it was so bad that they had to keep coming out of the house so they could even breathe. But yeah, this is Tyler's cousin. The daughter got her kid taken away, probably for drugs or something. Okay. And Jeanette's sister received custody, but I guess she didn't really want to take care of the grandkid because she drops the kid off at Chunner's house.
Oh, geez.
Chunner, her son, who has been arrested with 14 dead pit bulls, that he's breeding pit bulls and not even taking care of them. They're dying all over the place. And they said urine and feces everywhere. Why would you drop your grandkid off there? Wow. Oh, the grandkid's dead now, by the way. The grandkid is dead. And all all the locals say that the grandkid got into the fentanyl.
Oh, the fentanyl. Oh, gosh. Okay.
That's what the locals say. I'm not accusing it. It's not psychic, but that's what the locals say.
Okay.
But it was ruled, I think it was ruled sudden infant death syndrome or something. Like he got away. He just got away with this kid dying.
Insane.
And then, yeah, this story is very interesting, and they're giving no press conferences. The news outlets in Reading are afraid to even talk about it. There's one good article on it. I think it's called A News Cafe or something like that. That tells a lot, and everyone goes, "Oh, they're so brave to talk about it." Like everyone is afraid. Half the participants in the Facebook group, and her name, if you want to look her up, Nikki, Nikki, Saley, S-A, I think E-L-E-E or something, McCain, M-C-C-A-I-N. But half the people that talk about it are anonymous. Like they're afraid of this family. So they're just like an evil crime family. There's been multiple suspicious deaths about them. Mama's covering it up on all levels. And they start fires all over the place. Like, and I don't know if this was Nikki's truck that he started on fire, but this Tyler lives on 3 acres. And so he started a bunch of cars on fire. I think he knew they were going to search him or something. So he starts a bunch of cars. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Excuse me. Tyler didn't start the fire. He just said he turned it on the dry grass and some part underneath exploded and started the fire. So, but somebody else did almost the exact same thing in town and got arrested. Tyler, of course, only gets a little minor's ticket. It's like, kid gloves on this people and no focus, no coverage in the media of Reading about this missing woman.
And she's been missing since May, right? Late part of May.
It's infuriating. It is infuriating, this domestic violence and this cover-ups. And it's just like, to me, it reminds me of Suzanne Morphew.
Me too.
Yeah. The helplessness of wanting out of a marriage And then in Barry's case, the cover-ups also involved being able to afford those high-priced lawyers. Right. And Barry's mom was somewhat like this, but not like these people up there in Northern California.
Yes, and then you've got this money aspect because of the local casino, the family ties to it. Did you say the grandmother, the grandma owns it or no? Who owns the casino?
So Jeanette is Tyler's mom. Yes. And Jeanette's father was one of the original people who opened it in the beginning. And then he was the facilities manager, but he was one of the main people who actually opened it up, and it brings in millions for the local community. So they've built a medical center. They've built a nursery center. They give several $100,000 a year to the government, like local, that's part of the agreement. So the police are getting hundreds of thousands of dollars from these people. And in the meantime, this woman's sons are and all these relatives are involved in all these very suspicious deaths.
This is a lot of deaths, Donna, seriously.
Oh yeah, and they have not found Nikki's body, and they're like, well, she must have just run off. And it's like, she has 3 sisters she's very close to. She has 4 children. Kids. It's right. Like, you can tell if someone's run off if there's something on their bank records or whatever, Right. She didn't run off. She told her sister she was going to leave him. Right. And in the reading she showed me, she said turn her back on him. So yeah. Okay. I was asking them stuff like that. I didn't even make it on there. I said, like, did she have red boots? And her sister said, yeah, she had red Uggs. Not everyone has red Uggs. It's things like that. I said, I'm seeing like a white fireplace mantle, because I was asking Nikki, the spirit Nikki, what I felt like it happened in her home, between in the kitchen doorway where the kitchen goes to like the other room, like the dining room or living room or whatever. Like, it started there, so there should be blood splatter there if they did luminol, but I don't know if they did or not. And she said, they said, yeah, it's white tile. The whole thing is white tile of the mantle and around there. So to me, that confirms, yeah, it was okay in their family home.
Oh my gosh. And if I remember correctly, she was supposed to drop a vehicle off somewhere. Is that right, Donna? A vehicle somewhere. And the last time she talked to one of her sisters, it was via text message. And it was like, she was telling her sister what she was about to do. And then after that, days later, they realized they hadn't talked to her at all. Right. And nobody had. Next
later, they're like, why isn't she answering and stuff? So yeah, apparently Jeanette's other son, Brian, the one whose fiance was shot in the head and then rolled to suicide, he was in the hospital for a blood clot or something like that. So they were all up there at the hospital, and Jeanette asked Nikki to drive her truck. She was going to go home with someone else maybe, and she asked Nikki to drive her truck to her house.
So mother-in-law was likely in on it, it sounds like.
A lot of people are very suspicious about that. Like, I was starting to get stuff even related to the mother, but I knew I couldn't really put anything. I just kind of veered away to location of the body and stuff. And I don't know if she was in on it or if she just is like these other mothers, like Scott Peterson's mother and Roberta Laundrie and Chris Proudfoot's mother. She's definitely one of those types.
The type to indulge her kid.
She's going to pull out all stops for her kid not to go to jail.
Right.
Yeah. And to manipulate the system. She's definitely that. I can't say one way or another.
Right.
Pete, do you mean the red race car bed for Nikki? I didn't get anything about it. I don't remember anything like that.
Red race car bed.
She's saying about Betty. Her flyers were removed by workers, not parents. Okay, that's fine, but she is out there, lover or hater. She is out there raising publicity for Sebastian. She's been harassed by Terry Bowersox a couple times, and she has not done anything that I've seen that would call for a restraining order. You can't do a restraining order because someone talks about you. I don't see that she went on their actual property, nor did she ever accost or threaten to harm. And so those are requirements of a restraining order. So I'm not sure why it wasn't thrown out already. But one thing I would say is I really respect the fact that Seth went to court for her. He went to court with her, and he was interviewed. He did very well being interviewed by, and that kind of thing. No matter what you think about it, it helps keep Sebastian's name.
It does.
Out there, or nobody. If it wasn't for T-Rev, even though they had a falling out with Seth, I don't think anybody would know about Sebastian. Nobody would. He was sitting there every day for 3 weeks, going on and on. I'm like, well, he sure talks about this kid a lot. He sure talks. So that's why I just shared his thing. I didn't even watch it. I was just like, this guy's really into this one missing kid case. There's a lot of missing children. There's how many thousands go missing every year and are never seen again.
I know. In JLR, he was very instrumental also, I think, in getting the word out about Sebastian.
Yeah.
And Pascal. There were a few of them that were just like hitting it hard. And of course, I have to say, what is his name? It's not he's friends with the lab. What is his name? He's a nice kid. Oh, I can't remember. I almost want to say Tyler or something. Somebody will remember in the comments probably. But he actually was the first person to talk about this case.
Oh, he was.
And then
we might be talking about the same guy, like
Trevor. Thank you.
That might be the one I'm thinking of. So I keep throwing out the other one. That might be the guy. I don't really know. All I know
Trevor was awesome.
I was saying, this guy just keeps talking about the same case. There's so many cases, And then so one time I shared it, but I didn't even watch. I just did it because I thought, well, he's really trying to get somewhere, And it's people doing that, whether love them or hate them, whether they bring in drama. If they are keeping that child's name in the news, then the bigger media pays attention.
It does. Yeah. And now that Dog the Bounty Hunter is talking about it. Yeah, you're right. It's going to get a lot more eyes on it. No matter what.
Whether he did skip tracing, which is, bounty hunting. So that is tracking people down. So, I mean, he does have the ability and the resources to like follow all those leads on all these relatives and friends. And so he can do that. But even just the fact that his name, just putting his name on something, just got it nationwide exposure. So even that is they should stop insulting him, in that one Facebook group, I think.
Yeah, oh, for sure.
It's easy for people to sit there on their fat asses and criticize what other people are trying to do to help. And you might not like it, but at least it's and there's even other YouTubers I don't really care for, but like on the Summer Wells case, it's their whole circus and drama they created was just annoying as could be. But you know what? It kept her name there because she's just one of many. Yeah. She's one of thousands.
Right. And, people don't understand what goes into having, to deal with YouTube comments and make YouTube videos and stuff. So if you don't like the way we're doing it to any hater in the comments, make your own channel, put out your own information because it's pretty taxing trying to come up here, face the criticism, deal with people's nonsense. It's a lot. So, be a little bit more appreciative.
It's more work than you think. It's like, I think some of these younger people that grew up with these computers are a little faster than me, but I'm like, by the time I think of doing something, it's like a month later, and I'm like a month behind all these other people.
Gosh, for sure.
But some of these people are on here like JR. I mean, if I had a fourth of the energy of that guy,
I know,
bouncing all over the country, like here, there, he's putting out 10 videos a day. And it's like,
I don't know how he does it.
One a month.
Yeah, he's got so much stamina. It's mind blowing to me.
Isn't it funny? It's fun to watch.
It is. Yeah. No, he does a great job at just keeping the names out there too, I think. Yeah. And I know he has like a sordid past. But, what he does for victims in the sense of getting awareness, I think that's awesome.
Yeah. And so, and the sordid past, it's like, well, who doesn't?
Who doesn't? Everybody's
the thing of it is, what about redemption? What about turning your life around? When he only had 5,000 subscribers, someone was attacking him. I was just like running sideline telling people to shut up because it's like, they're like, oh, well, you had this fraud charge. And it's like, who cares? What is he doing now? He's doing something positive. You got a problem with that? That's what Christianity is all about, is turning your life around. And I'm not saying he's a Christian, but I'm just saying you know, if someone's had a past, but then they turn around and do something good, you should celebrate that, you know?
Absolutely. I agree. I know. Well, is there anything else you can think of before we depart?
No, we're 2 hours and 20 minutes.
Yes.
So I think we
Yes,
covered.
it's been a while, but thank you so much for coming on, Donna, and talking about all this. And I think that just the clues you put out, they could be helpful. It might click in somebody's mind, maybe something they saw, or maybe somebody they've known.
To the right person, to the right person, or to a cop. It could be really helpful.
I wish the cops would listen.
Well, you know what the thing is? Before, I was doing this for 6 years before I put up on the Lori Vallow. Yeah. And that actually was just because they didn't know what state they were in. So I wasn't planning the YouTube. But cops used to call me back all the time. Sometimes they just call me over and over. But I don't remember if any have called me since. A couple have written me back, like one from Rexburg wrote me back, one from Arizona wrote me back. And but you know, I can understand their apprehension to talk to me on the phone, and they don't want that information recorded and put, you know, I guess these YouTubers are ruthless about putting stuff up. So I'm not insulted if they don't call me back. But,
right. Well, I think you're very realistic about how public perception is towards psychics anyway. You know that, and I know this, and most people do, that most of the time when you hear the word psychic, it's like you think, oh, that nutter, that crazy person. That's how most people feel.
Yeah.
And that's how I used to feel.
Part of it is because if you want to do psychic work for a living, you don't always pick up psychically. So there's tons of people, there's plenty of people who have some psychic ability, but then will just BS their way through a reading. Oh, your sister that died, in a past life, you guys were angels together, you're twin flames, you know, you were reincarnated, the mother of this, you know, they'll say 100 things that cannot be confirmed. Yeah. And that's wrong in my book. That is so wrong.
It's fluff.
If I'm talking to someone, if I'm scheduled to do a reading and I'm doing a reading, and I'm like, you know, I'm picking them up a little, I'm picking up a couple things, but this is just not what I know I'm capable of. I'll just say, you know what, I'll just go for about 15 minutes, and then I'll just be like, I'm just going to reschedule you, like no charge, but I know I can do better. I'm not as strong tonight as I'd like to be. And I think more people who call themselves psychics, but they're not. If they're on the psychic hotlines, they're not going to make money unless they keep the person on the line. That's one thing. So if you call a psychic hotline, they make $3 an hour or $1.50 an hour. So if they can hold you on the line for an hour, they just made $75 and the company made 75, and that's how it works. Jeez. So I charge by the reading, but I'll do over and over. There's I would say about 1 out of 5 times I'll reschedule the person and do it again. Mm-hmm. And one time it was the 4th time before I got a super good reading, but that only happened once. But I think that's the problem with psychics and I hear that at psychic fairs too, is, you know, they'll sit there, you walk by them and they're just saying all this bullshit. They're saying all this crap that can't be confirmed, that isn't providing any evidence. Like Nikki showing me red boots, and I asked her sister, did she have red boots? Yes, she had red Uggs. Most people don't have red Uggs. Most people don't have red boots.
Very rare.
That tells us we have Nikki.
Validation, yeah.
Yeah. So evidence, it's called evidence and validation. And I think that's why psychics have a bad name, is because a lot of them do resort to the hustle. Mm-hmm. You know, and a lot of on the stage ones, you think they've got $200,000 on the line and they're not going to have that platform stacked. I mean, I was going to go see a psychic who had a TV show. I signed up to go see him. When it was close to a couple weeks away, they sent me an email. The producer sent me an email, and they wanted to know if I had someone that died that I was grieving over, what the person's name was, what their relationship to me was, and how they died. Oh, geez. Yeah. And I just didn't even bother making the trip to
slimy. I think that's slimy. Yeah.
That's about as low down as you can get. But you know what? If they've got a show to do, if they're in Las Vegas and they've got, you know, they're charging $300 a ticket, you think they're not going to have that all set up just to, I mean, and they're real psychic and they might really be doing a reading sometimes, but they don't always get it. You're not always on. So right. I think that's why psychics have a bad name. I really do.
I think though you're so realistic in how people perceive psychics in general. You know that most people think it's just insane. Just like I always felt, until I saw your ability. That's what made me believe was the whole JJ Tylee stuff. And since then, of course, many other cases now have confirmed or reconfirmed my belief in your ability.
Yeah, on the Tylee Ryan, I probably made 1,000 statements and probably 980 of them were correct.
I know.
And then still with that, the trolls said, well, that was just luck. Yeah. See if you can do it again. And then so I do it again and again. And then they're just
here's the thing.
A troll. It doesn't matter what you do.
Look, I know. And here's the thing, Donna, is by the time the information comes back or comes out into the media, and then we finally hear about it, nobody cares about the case anymore. It's gone.
I know.
And that's the hard part. Because I want to scream it from she was right again. But nobody cares now. Nobody cares. That was like 6 months ago or a year or two ago,
That's exactly right. Like someday I would like to go through my readings and put together like little psychic detective.
You should.
But I'm just slow. I'm just like, what should I do today? Maybe I would take my little Rocky bulldog to the beach.
You want to enjoy your life and you live in a beautiful place. San Diego. Oh, I shouldn't say California. Will be general.
It's sunny. It's beautiful. The sky's blue like 340 days a year.
Oh yeah.
And I just like to go to the beach and walk around with my little dog.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Hi, Gonzo. Hope you're still here. Good to see you. Yeah, I agree with you, Donna. It's especially with how hard your life has been in the past and situations, right? Mm-hmm. To have a moment to enjoy, take it. Because as we know, those moments can be very few and far between when life is rough. So like every minute your life is normal and good, value it. And I say this to the audience too. And I've told my husband this for a long time, because when the S hits the fan is when you go, God, I should have been so much more grateful. For example, that I, back when I didn't constantly feel like I had to pee or, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, no. Things can change at any time. And you don't like one big regret I have is Nicole had a friend with a timeshare in Cabo San Lucas, which is and I was afraid to fly. So I made an excuse. I was like, it's a bad flu year. And it really was, I was afraid to fly. And I'm like, I would do anything if I could add that to my memory bank of spending 2 weeks with her in Cabo. So I'd say take any opportunity with the people you love and put that above work promotions, overtime, buying junk. Just the people you love is priceless, and at any time they could be gone. So
absolutely nothing is guaranteed. Your tomorrow is not guaranteed. Mm-hmm. So live in this moment and appreciate every minute your life is good and normal. And every minute we live in a free society, because God knows that could change. And it is changing.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So, yeah. Thank you for having me, Lauren.
Thank you, Donna, for being here. And thank you, everybody in the comments and for the super stickers. And thanks, guys, so much for being here. We really enjoyed it. And I'll let you go. Good to see you. Bye, Donna. Bye, guys. Bye. Oh, and press like if you can on your way out. Thanks. Bye.